have you communicated with a social media user who goes by the name ThatUmbrellaGuy?
I've had several phone calls with the person who goes by the name ThatUmbrellaGuy. Don't actually know his real name.
You treading a thin line here,
seized the moment
Elaine.
and responded to the umbrella guy, the lead person for Mr. Depp's Twitters. Did you remember? He also admitted that he speaks to that umbrella guy, and you'll see that one text in there.
Oh, no.
I deleted my heart and I really want it back. I don't want to feel like I might be a sociopath. I deleted my heart. I was young and impulsive and I would download another, but I'm afraid it wouldn't fit. I deleted my heart. 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 Heart, 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 heart.
You know what? I talk to your mayor.
All right. What's up? What's up? What's up? Hey there. How you folks doing today? Man, it is going to be a fun one. By the way, thank you, Suey Sue. Thank you for the 5 gifted memberships. Saw those drop in at the earliest time. Thank you for that. Also, saw the super chat drop in. Thank you for that too. Man, 2 in the row there. Thank you for that. And Laura, thank you for the gifted membership. I think it's going to be a fun night too. Love all you folks. Appreciate you, Subi Sue. Appreciate you, Laura. Appreciate all you folks. I'm going to let people build for a minute while we talk. And then, yeah, we're going to start going through some fun stuff. Now, if somebody would somebody link the documentary for Surviving Amber Heard? I want to pin that to the top of the chat, and I'm watching it on my phone, so I can't easily do that. I apologize, but maybe when he will can, I'll pin it up there for it. Nikki, thanks for the 30 months. Hey everyone, Tug, hope you and your family are great. Thank you. Thanks for continuing to spread the truth. I saw the documentary. It was great to see how, unlike Netflix, it showed the real AH. Indeed. Yeah, video that exposes Amber Heard. Fascinating, isn't it? It's strange to actually have somebody go in and just look at the lies versus the reality of. I mean, because the reality of, give me 1 minute, pin in there. All right, the reality of, whoa, I deleted again. Sorry, Mashed Potato Goblin. I did it yesterday too. The delete button is right under, for me as an admin, the delete button is right under the, or right above the pin button, or rather right under it. Yeah, that was right. So, it's like, I don't know about you, but like I'm tall, so I have like long fingers, my fingers are as long as this freaking phone is. I just had to get a new one, by the way. So it's an S23, and my fingers are actually longer than the phone. From the bottom of my hand to the top of my hand is longer than my phone. So, yeah, I hit a lot of buttons on accident sometimes. What's up, Ren? Thanks for the 11 months. Love being Tug's Thugs. Well, I love having you there. Thank you. Appreciate that. Karen, thanks for 12 months. It's your birthday. Boom. Happy birthday from all of us to you. Yeah. Happy birthday for you, for real. I hope you're having a great one there. I hope it's been a fun one. I hope it's been a fun day for everybody. I know it hasn't really been a fun day for Grace Randolph. I showed yesterday at the end of the stream how Randolph, responded to the Hurdies and their pressuring. Oh, you can't talk about the Depps. You can't talk about that stuff. She was like, oh, well, a script for Pirate 6. Well, as long as it has Depp in it. She got the Hurdies like all up in her comments, of course, because these people, I swear, they have more sock accounts. I've seen more accounts created since June 2023 than I think I've ever seen in my life. But she responded to it. She's like, oh, why is everyone turning on Depp all of a sudden? Well, if you think that's reality, I mean, you've seen the media, they do what they've done. They've always done that. You've seen the PR push, but if you think these people are real, my God, do you think like suddenly the world just shifted? You think the world is okay with a man being abused? Not Twitter, not all these nasty shills, not politicos, but actually, regular people. Do you think they're really okay with that? Because I would venture to say that most people would say no, but she put this out there, and guess what? Got her targeted for it. Got her targeted heavily for it. Joetta, thanks for the 12 months. What's up with Dan Wootton? Silence so far. Silence. Isn't that weird? Isn't that weird? I mean, seriously. Like Dan Wootton, he's a huge story. And what's really weird about it is, Dan Wootton himself said it was a political hatchet job, right? Well, if it's a political hatchet job, wouldn't they go after him every single day? Like, doesn't it say more about the media protecting their own? I mean, strange, isn't it? Accidental Oracle, thanks for the 2. Love you, man. Thanks for calling out the misandrist. Oh, yeah, man. There's so many. Oh, by the way, if you see, it's just like, I don't want men to hate women. And I don't want a bunch of sexist pieces of crap actually targeting men and boys either, and they do. I mean, if you want to get a real feeling for that, this is a real headline. Okay. If you want to really get a feel for it, here, check this out. This is real. I looked up the article. You can find the electronic article for it. You know, this was sent to me. It's a picture, but I was like, man, that doesn't, is that real? Yes, indeed. It is indeed real. How do we stop this kid becoming a monster? They decided to put some little boy on the front of this and to say, call for DV lessons at all schools and address the menace of toxic masculinity. So just in case you're wondering about their stance on men being aggrieved parties, not just aggressors. Yeah, they make it very clear. That's pretty messed up. See, what they want is mandatory teaching of how people, the majority of people know how to treat other people. They know what they're doing wrong. If we teach people, here's the problem I have with the idea of lessons like this. They're not going to teach people not to become abusers. They're going to teach them that masculinity is quote unquote toxic, that being a man is quote unquote toxic, and that you have to cater and count it. You know, oh my God, apologize for doing that. Apologize for being that. It's like, what am I apologizing for? Yeah, because I was born with certain gear. Huh? Weird. Weird world, right? But yeah, this is a real headline. There's a real article backing it up. Like I said, I went and looked it up because I was like, oh my God, is that real? Yes, indeed. But it gives you a picture just how the world looks at these situations. Also, we were talking about we were talking about Aquaman 2 the other day as well. We'll hit that video in just a second. We'll start up. But the toys for it have dropped. Look at that face. You know, I was laughing. I was like, it even comes with cheek implants. That's weird. Well, it's really funny, though. I kept thinking, I was like, at first, I was like, that's great. Then I thought, oh, no. You know how many Aquaman 1 figures have been mailed to my P.O. box by you people? There's been 32 of them so far. Like, no joke. You folks have mailed 32 Aquaman mirror figures to my P.O. box so far. That's funny. I've got a whole freaking box of them. It's so funny though to go and be like, oh, and now there's a new way. I was finally getting, well, they're harder to find now, so maybe people aren't going to be finding them at their at their local Goodwill or something. You know, people are trying to charge more on eBay. No, they got a new freaking set of them. They'll go out. They'll probably they'll make a short appearance in Walmart, and then they'll all go in the clearance aisle, and then they'll all end up in my P.O. box. Somebody actually told me, by the way, they were like, you know, if the trial would have happened before, when Aquaman 1 came up, I'd have sent you a whole crate of those stupid things. I was like, no, not a crate of them. Oh my God. Look at that face, though. I mean, it's like, oh, and the Herdies were like, oh, it looks so stunning and brave and cute. I was like, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Are we looking at the same figure here? Really? It looks so angry. It does, though. Like, look at those cheek implants. I wonder, though, does it come with box wine and, you know, bed sheet? Does it come with a list of demands? Man, whew. Good thing that give me one second. Good thing they didn't base Aquaman on real life, right? A mess. All right, well, let's check this thing out. Okay, now I'm going to do my spiel for this because I really do believe in what I'm going to say with it. All right, and I'm going to introduce what we're talking about here today, okay? Because I really want you to understand what we're looking at. Hey, Liz, thank you for 5 gifted memberships, too. Thank you, Liz. Appreciate you. Good to see you, too. Man, 11 memberships today so far. That's crazy. Thank you, Liz. John, thanks for 5. Do you have to pay extra for the little brown plastic splat accessory? Yeah. You know, could you imagine a commercial with that, too? You know? Yeah, now with aqua powers. You go, no. What's it shooting at me? Oh, gross. Anyway. This is called Surviving Amber Heard. If you want to pick it up, and you should, remember, it's not necessary. I debated whether or not to go through with some of this, looking at it, because I was like, well, will it cost them sales or will it give them sales? And I looked at the amount of traffic they were getting, and they're grassroots. Okay, so word of mouth makes this move. So tell people it exists. It costs $12 plus tax. And when you land on the landing page, it'll say Venmo, but you can pay with whatever. You can pay PayPal, so it can be secure. You're good to go with it. But support the endeavor of making something that is real. This is an entire series that is calling Amber Heard out. We're going to start it today. We talked about some of the revelations that it had yesterday, but we're actually going to go through. Now, again, part of that is the expectation that people will support the thing, you know? So, I mean, again, $14 Netflix. Many of you have Netflix. Many of you paid $20 for you to be insulted by a company that just gave you a giant middle finger because it said, you know, you attack victims is what they said. You misled a jury. That's what they said. So, yeah, maybe deprive them of $19 for a month and put it somewhere where it goes. You know, because I mean, that's just gross to me. What's up, Raya? Thanks for the fun. You should buy one for baby umbrella girl. It's scarier than Pennywise. I don't want to traumatize the poor one. You know what's funny is she likes Pennywise enough that, you know, they have those little 1/6 figure. You know, they're not statues, but they're the upgrade from toys. They're about like $100. I have one of those in my house set up because she likes Pennywise enough. I got one set up down here for me. She wants it in her room, you know. Or it's like some kids are scared of the dark with a little like monsters, and she wants one in her room. Roman thinks it's 16 months, but too long. So it's like a live stream with you. This will be a good one then. You'll enjoy this one. This will be good for sure. And Subi Sue, thanks for the 10. Again, thank you. Thank you for all of that. Thanks for all you do. Hey, thank you. Thank you for what you do. And thank you all for being here too. You know, again, I realize I've covered this a long time. It's not about relitigation. It's nothing like that. What it's about is, again, there is a concerted effort to promote, out of any abuser we have ever seen, there's a concerted effort to rehab this one. I'm not talking about fan groups either. A fan group I could get, okay? But when the mainstream gets in, when politicians still talk about, or lawmakers, you know, they slip up every now and then. Like when Elaine was speaking in front of a bunch of lawyers/lawmakers, and 3 of them get tagged into the process. They're all elected officials in Virginia. They want to stop this stuff from happening again. They don't want a repeat of a trial because you learned a little bit too much about what happens there. And the reality, Rolling Stone likes to say men always win. Politicians and all these crazies are trying to say men shouldn't win. And it's kind of nuts. So again, this link top of the chat, you just click on there, pick it up. It's 2-parter long. We're going to go through it. Let me recenter so I can lock in on it now. Okay. I'm going to blow it up all the way so we can lock in, and then off we go because we got everybody here. Well, we got a bunch of people here. Wow, 900 something of you. I'm not going to say that this will all happen. I'm going to add commentary. Of course, you know, if you want to watch of course, watch it on your own. Don't take my word for anything that comes up. I just, you know, I'm going to add commentary because of course. So let's get it.
Amber, did Johnny give you that bruise on your face? Did Johnny beat you up?
Stop. How are you feeling? Excuse me.
Hi, Amber. How you feeling?
Flanked by security, Amber Heard doesn't try to hide the bruise on her cheek.
Neither does her lawyer.
You guys, she showed a lot of courage today.
You okay, Amber?
A judge granted the actress a temporary restraining order against megastar husband Johnny Depp.
Never did I myself reach the point of striking Miss Heard in any way, nor have I ever struck any woman in my life.
Miss Heard walked into court. The scene was a setup. She tipped off the paparazzi so they would be waiting. They knew exactly where she would pause, which side of her face to photograph. And the photos captured what she wanted them to see, the image of a battered woman.
Take a look at the words she used in her op-ed 2 years after she first publicly accused Mr. Depp of being an abuser. Quote, then 2 years ago, I became a public figure representing domestic abuse.
Social justice. She has spearheaded policies to better serve residents of all ages and created the West Hollywood Community Response Team for Domestic Violence.
I can't promise you that I'll.
Now, see that's something a lot of people when we flash forward into this case, a lot of people don't realize how 2016 and 2018 were utilized to make people, not just many people that don't deserve it because they falsely accused other people, but they became spokespersons for women. They became the face of advocacy. You had again, there were big cases came up with that. I mean, you had people over the last few years that have been showcased as not only false accusers, but put people in prison. And they're still serving on boards. I mean, it's nuts. You had after 2018. She was selling interviews, going and doing spokesperson jobs for $30,000 a talk. That's what it became. So when people say it's just about X, Y, or Z, man, the platform that this gives you, it makes you, first of all, you can see the proof of it even now. It makes you unassailable. People are not allowed to question you. You must listen, you must believe, or people will ruin your life. On top of that, it is big money. It's money at a level that we're not just talking payoffs, because the payoff already happened. The payoff to walk away, but there's just so much there. For somebody that either has a minuscule career or has nothing at all, or wants to keep a career, like they want to be unfireable for, say, a Warner Brothers. How do you defend that? Well, you say people like your ex are leading a worldwide campaign trying to knock you out of that position. They're the ones, not the company that wants to get rid of you, and you force them to take you back. So a lot of people don't realize just how much this thing was leveraged.
Perfect. I can't promise you I won't get physical again. God, I fucking sometimes get so mad I lose it. I can fucking promise you I'm do everything to change.
Do you find that?
So, I mean, when you have admissions like that, her words, I can't promise you I won't get physical again. I get so mad, I lose it. I mean, she's telling you she's violent. Like, again, what's crazy about this? It frustrates me. The frustration where I'm like, wow. What frustrates me is if this doesn't pass for evidence, what does? At what level do you have evidence? I mean, what more should Depp have presented? Like, for these people, who had injuries? He had a missing finger. He had a cigarette put out on his face. He had audio. He had pictures. He had testimonials, not just from people around him, but from random people. But of course, they attacked him and the discussion point always changes, but it's either, he's got money, or he's a man, or, elite, or God knows, but it's always, there's another talking point that's just dismissive. You need to dismiss this because, and it's like, wow, that's kind of crazy. What's up, Mark? Thanks for the 15 months. One day people might understand it isn't men or women that are bad. It's a type and just nasty regard. This of genitalia. Yeah, indeed. there's a label. It's not men, it's not women, it's abusers. It's simple to understand there. It should be. This should be so cut and dry. Like for me, sometimes I'll sit down and it will boggle my fucking mind that I've been talking about this kind of stuff since 2018. I spent 5 years and I feel like some days I'm right at go. You have one of the biggest examples here. You have other examples of false accusations, and I feel like we're right at go.
Mr. Depp has proven by clear and convincing evidence that Ms. Heard acted with actual malice. Answer, yes.
To piggyback
Johnny
on the
Depp
judge's
and Amber
point,
Heard
you would love a publicist that doubles down.
Millions of viewers have intently followed the coverage of Amber Heard versus Johnny Depp trial to see whether the actress lied and defamed her ex-husband.
You notice right there, you what was interesting? They didn't spotlight. They stuck to the point, because this is what I said with Discovery, and when I said with Netflix, and really, what I said with when people want to interview or something. If they want to interview someone, interview some of the female domestic abuse survivors that back Depp. Ask them why they do it, or stick to actually what happened. But of course, they don't do that. So it's just fascinating. When they were introducing it, they're talking about prologue for case. This is the first documentary that I've seen get major release. There's actually another documentary that's pretty good. I thought about covering as well. That is on a YouTube channel. I thought about spotlighting it too, because it does a really good job for expose. But we'll see.
15 months after claiming he abused her during their short-lived marriage. The jury's verdict massively ruled in favor of Johnny on all counts, but some still scrutinize the judgment, the trial, and its coverage for one reason or another. However, the theme of their criticism is primarily centered around misogyny and victims of domestic abuse being let down.
That's exactly it too. And it is still that was, I'm telling you, there's a new shift in it though. The new shift in the paradigm. It is a talking point that is being adopted. You look for it. You look for it everywhere. Do you know it? Not a perfect victim. That is the new talking point. That is the new paradigm that they go with. They go with it all the time. And you see it everywhere. Continue.
Perhaps they understandably didn't watch every second of the 6-week-long broadcasted trial or looked at every piece of evidence that's been presented. But we will look into this wild story, its context in our society, consider all of its angles, and what it means for us all.
Now, you looked at that collage too. Let me see. It's hard to back up in this thing, so excuse me. I just wanted to see that collage again. Looking at this
Look into this wild story, its context in our society, consider all of...
Now, when you look at that, I mean, you have plenty of examples of frauds, of abusers, and there's so many more, I mean, but you have clear-cut examples. See, that's what drives me nuts about crazy folks. They're like, misogyny. You don't believe that. No, I believe Harvey Weinstein is an abuser. I believe Shia LaBeouf is an abuser. His own words. I just believe that. I believe that you wait and you see what kind of evidence is there, and the overwhelming evidence on the other side of that. There are plenty of female abusers out there too.
All of its angles and what it means for us all.
The truth. That's it.
You cannot tell me that you think that this has been fair.
You see.
Please don't come close to me.
Please take your phone off.
Please don't come close to me.
I'm taking pictures calling the cops.
Please call the cops.
I'm going to tell them there's an African-American man threatening my life.
The Army National Guardsman lost his civilian job and was out of work for nearly 6 months after the arrest. Bennett, later convicted of making it all up. She was sentenced to 35 days in jail, then an ankle monitor.
I don't feel that's justice.
His accuser,
35 days. You heard that. Man gets fired, life ruined, tarred and feathered. 35 days. And you know what? I mean, we've seen some examples now of people actually going for a little while, but man, I mean, what people face versus the other side of that, it's unreal.
18-year-old Nikki Uvino later admitted that she had sex willingly and was afraid that if she admitted that, another student wouldn't want to date her.
You know, people don't look at you the same way. People don't talk to you.
One day you're...
Yeah, I mean, again, that was a high-profile case there. I mean, imagine she went out. There was another case where she went out. She accused a man of doing the unthinkable to her. And the reason for that is she thought that would diminish her in the eyes of the man that she really wanted to date. So she was willing. I mean, you know, you think about the casual nature of that. That's not just selfish, but the casual nature where that is weaponized. That is a statement about society. That is a statement not about the individual, but about society. Because it's not just the individual that does it, but it's society that allows it. Laws are geared where you can destroy people's lives. If the police don't do their due diligence, if the victim that is accused does not do their due diligence, they will go to prison. That is a fucking travesty.
Cinderella, so to speak, and then in 0.6 seconds, you're Quasimodo. My family, the people that supported me, suddenly I'm scum. Why? Never had to happen. One little lie.
Oh, when you start flipping out, I can't get a word in, and it's manic and angry.
I get angry. I'm human. This is the kind of situation where one gets angry.
Okay, but just
can't control that. If I'm angry.
Just try.
Like everyone else is fucking such this. Go fucking suck my dick. You fucking cowardless, ballless piece of shit.
I want to.
I don't want anything to fucking do with you. You don't want fucking nothing to do with you. You think I want that fucking old ass fucking piece of shit?
That big laugh. That big laugh is too much to take.
Yeah. By the way, if you enjoy the content on the channel, consider becoming a member because this will be demonetized. Actually, a lot of stuff is because this subject is not a friendly subject. But you know what? It's okay. Like I said, link is at the top of the description for this documentary. Seriously, watch it all on your own. But even if you don't plan on watching it again, make sure that you support the endeavor of making the thing. You know, I mean, that's just because it doesn't happen very often. So, their disclaimer on this. Patterns of behavior, disclaimer. These events are according to what is available through the courts and media. We do not claim to have firsthand knowledge. No one does. They claim to have firsthand knowledge. That's the kicker there. You know, yes, there are only certain parties. That's the poison on both sides of something like this. That's the poison on the side of accusation, and that is the poison on the side of when a deed happens. Because, you know, when people are like, well, it is true. A lot of people do not pick up a camera and take pictures or record something. You know, they don't. They don't in the moment, you know. It's really lucky. When I watched that case, I thought it's really lucky that Johnny Depp didn't have kids with her because she would have weaponized her children. She would have done everything. She weaponized his children, but she would have weaponized them as just another thing to get paydays. I mean, we see the numbers. So what was it? Again, not saying the person is an abuser in that, but wasn't it Kevin Costner? Is it Kevin Costner that's in courts for child support right now? And the person, his ex wants $175,000 a month. I mean, whoa, man, you know? So, I mean, it tells you, and it becomes something that you can use over and over again. Hey, Sidebar, I'm going to mess up your name there. Thank you. Welcome. Thank you for your membership. Welcome to Tugs Thugs, by the way. Lulu, nice work, Tug. Thank you. Thank you for the 5 there, too. I appreciate that. Mom Jagger, thanks, too, for more cupcakes. Indeed. Thank you. And Manic Malice. What's up, Manic Malice, by the way? Those totem cactuses are cool, too. I like them. Thank you for the 5 gifted memberships. One more. Karen, thank you for the $6.99 there. Money for the cause, Tug. Thank you. You know, and You know, there are a lot of cases going on too. I've been trying to cover other stuff. I've been trying to put out, it's a lot. I try to make better videos than I used to years ago, where I just covered something and just said blah, 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 blah. You know, I try to put something on the screen, but I tried to cover other cases with accusation. I'm not saying that they aren't or are, but like Nick Carter, for example, he has a strong case where evidence-wise, I'm curious to see it play out, because some of the stuff that's been presented there, some of the accusers, woo, man, there's some crazy stuff in that. And we've seen other ones too. But anyway, let's continue.
When the casting department was looking for an actress to play a femme fatale in the movie The Rum Diary, actor Johnny Depp was asked to review their pick, Amber Heard. Johnny accepted her for the part. That part extended way past the movie.
I think that there's something truly unique about this project.
This movie, I don't think, without Johnny, obviously wouldn't be made. And I think people will enjoy the ride.
I can't remember if they retell how that was utilized in the court, by the way, but you notice like the beginning of their relationship, and this happens every single time when you have a relationship that comes under scrutiny, they make it sound so creepy and sinister. You know, what was once a romantic tale and a romantic gesture becomes fodder for, oh my God, look what happened. Gloria, thanks for 10. I remember during the trial, Heardy's asking why these women couldn't just shut the up, and let AH have her win, even though she lied. Because believe all women, misogyny to her. Yeah, exactly. I mean, they say that, you know, hey, they don't care. I mean, you have them flat out admit they don't care. They don't care if abuse happened. Like something like this that presents her own words, they won't care at the end of the day, you know? Plus they have a bot farm. I mean, you can, again, so many accounts popping up June 2023 and on. I've never seen so many in my life. Bot farming. Fisty, thanks for 5. For sprinkles on the cupcake. Lovely. And one more. Thank you. Kat, thanks for 11 months. I went to support them. I'm glad I did. They support the truth like you. Thank you. Yes, again, link is in the top of the description. Yes, I will stop it often whenever I feel like it, but I want you to watch it on your own. You know, or support even if you don't want to. Yeah. I realize too, this is sensitive material for a lot of people that have been through horrible stuff. It's another reason I break a lot, because, you know, it lets you take it in chunks.
I love him, and you know what? It's not your decision. It's not your decision. I'm sorry. I'm over the edge. I'm over the edge now. Listen to him. I'm going to stay right here. I'm not going anywhere. She's staying here.
You stay in the room.
We're leaving. Fine. We're leaving. Fine. Go.
At this point, Amber is mostly known for some small roles, most notably a few scenes in a stoner comedy she did with James Franco called Pineapple Express. In a life-imitating art moment, Johnny and Amber become romantically involved. On the surface, they would go on to enjoy the extravagant life Johnny is on. Prestigious premieres and award shows, private jets and vacations on Johnny's 44-acre private island in the Bahamas.
Let me just take a moment and really admire that island. That is freaking awesome. I don't begrudge, like, I don't like the idea of celebrity because people worship celebrity, but I don't begrudge people for having. In fact, man, look at that. I mean, God, man, I wish wouldn't that be awesome? Fallen Hero, thank you for the 3, by the way. Fist bump indeed. Thank you.
When they're not away, they would spend time in one of Johnny's Los Angeles mansions, or in one of the multi-million-dollar 5 luxury penthouses Johnny Depp owned atop LA's historic Eastern Columbia building. For extended periods of time, Johnny would allow others to reside in his luxury homes and penthouses free of charge. Most notably, Amber's friends and family, which include Rocky Pennington, her ex-partner Josh Drew, I.O. Tillett Wright, Elizabeth Martz, and Amber's sister Whitney. It was revealed that Amber would eventually throw her sister Whitney out of the penthouse she was in after they had a massive fight.
Look at that. I mean, you know, you talk about scumbag behavior. I mean, really. So here's you a list of conspirators. You know, you have Raquel Rocky Pennington. Raquel Rocky Pennington, at the time, you notice none of these people have anything to do with, well, Whitney has a tumultuous relationship with Heard. She's back in, and at least in photographs, she's there right now in Spain. Don't know what that is, but they all have. She is one exception that has, again, I mean, you're talking about a blood relation. So, but Rocky Pennington, best friend of AH, ends up with a penthouse right across. Josh Drew, right there with her. These are people that their only way of making money is selling beads and stuff at flea markets, but they're living the rock star life. You also have I.O. Tillett Wright. I.O. Tillett Wright, wannabe writer, wannabe journalist. They actually end up able to do that, but at the expense of Johnny Depp in the aftermath. And Liz Mars. Liz Mars, who famously said, you know, hey, I remember this stuff. It is so embedded on me. I can't ever forget any of this. And yet, in the embedding, she gets the side of the face wrong that things supposedly happened with. You know, I mean, she's scarred by it, she says. She's so scarred that she can't forget to remember what side there. It's just so weird. Steph, thanks for the 5. Just a little something to help with the first payment. The storage unit you'll need for all those mirror figures. You ever have a moment where you think, man, maybe I shouldn't have mentioned that live? I think I'm, you know, like before I've mentioned, I hate the written word of y'all, you know. What do I get? I get y'alled all the time. Like people would like fill my whole screens up with y'alls. I was like, I mentioned, man, this figure, I would hate to have the first mirror figure. I was like, man, I'd hate to have some of this. Would I get 32 of the last one? And then I'm like, look at this one, man. Oh my God. Oh, yeah, with a storage unit for real. Lord.
After they had a massive fight. Amber and Whitney's relationship has not always been a smooth one.
Amber's sister, Whitney, seemed to always get the sort of dirty end of the stick. I felt bad for that because it wasn't new. It had been there for life.
Whitney, truth or dare? Okay, did you really start the fight with your sister?
This is important right here. This was not, a lot of people have never seen this before. Okay, what happened is Whitney, Amber Heard's sister, this is actually very clean. The audio is good. You usually never get that with this. She was on a failed reality TV show. On that, some of the cast members asked her about whether or not her sister had actually accosted her.
Sister, or did she start it? For real, for real, for real.
We're not going to talk about that.
She really did whoop your butt.
Oh, we're not talking about it.
Yeah.
See, this was brought up. Like the cast member is looking at her face and looking at here saying, hey, you've got marks on you. I mean, your sister, she really worked you over, didn't she? Like that's crazy, right? I mean, and that it's like it never existed. You had people, you know, they talk about eyewitnesses to something. I mean, you have eyewitnesses here after the moment. People are like, whoa, your sister beat the crap out of you. And, you know, she did leave. She ended up moving in again with her boss, who went on the record and told us all kind of crazy that was going on, you know, because she was trying to help Whitney because she thought Amber Heard was a monster. Liz, thank you for the $24.99. Thank you. Thank you for being you. Thank you for that. I appreciate that sincerely. Wolfkinder, thanks to Baby Gap Josh on the bingo card. Yeah, Baby Gap Josh is there. You notice every time you see Josh, we get some footage of him. Just watch. It's like he shops at the Baby Gap. It's very weird, you know. I'm like, man, get some clothes that you know are your size. I'm not saying that. Like I said, I got some weight on right now. You know, been walking a lot. Dropped 25 pounds, by the way. But still, you know, like my little one said, Daddy's got a big belly. But I don't shop at the Baby Gap. And Manic Malice, thanks for that. He's worked tirelessly for decades to entertain the world. He suffered needlessly, yet still uncommonly kind and beyond generous to everyone. He deserves a private island. IMO. Y'all. Y'all get it all, y'all in there. Of course. I mean, if you got the money to buy a private island, you do you. God, if I had that kind of money, I can't even tell you what kind of stuff I would actually own. We could tell you.
Yeah, I guess I'm done talking about it.
It was a kind of a strange combination of loving sister, trusted sister and friend, then either punching bag or the dartboard, or the recipient of some rather demeaning and ugly words, or she would have wine thrown in her face.
Who was the source of those demeaning words and the wine that you just referenced?
That would be Amber Heard, her sister. Whitney was trying to please her sister, trying to be up to snuff, and it just seemed like she got shot down.
But yes, I have been in arguments with my sister. And you have wanted to run away for days, right? Sure. And not have her there fighting with you. Sure.
She and her boyfriend, Sean, had broken up. She needed a place to go. So Amber asked if she could stay in Penthouse 4, and I said, well, of course, of course.
And you testified that for a time you lived in the ECB penthouses with Mr. Depp and Ms. Heard. That's correct. You didn't pay rent while you were living there, right? No. You didn't pay for any of the bills for the penthouses? No. It's very generous. And Rocky Pennington lived in one of those penthouses also, right? She did. And at some point, her boyfriend, Josh Drew, moved in, right? Yes. You took trips with your sister and Mr. Depp also, right? Occasionally. You didn't pay for those either, right? Nope. I did not. You moved out of the penthouses because at that point you and your sister were fighting, right?
It was around the time that, he had accused me of leaking stories. And that.
Yeah, you noticed that, and then it was like, Depp. Yeah, that's what was happening. But, again, when you have people that are the closest sources, they come out and they back the idea that Whitney Heard was a punching bag. You really got to question stuff, right? Lucretia, thanks for the 20 there. Here's to your demonetization. Indeed. Thank you. And thank you for all your hard work. Yes, that would be the stream, not the channel, the stream, just to make sure, people understand. It's what we talk about. This is not considered advertiser friendly, although it's strange what it is. Now if the media talks about it, everything's advertiser friendly. That's the same reason, they'll use excuses on some channels not to pick up some series they don't want. They'll say something like this, oh, well, it's graphic, it's too sensationalized, and yet they'll pull up the same material. You see places like WB pull that kind of bullshit. They'll have one on the subject, but they'll be like, no, I can't do the other one because, well, it's a little too, Gloria thinks 5. It can't both be generous and abusive at the same time. Math isn't mathing. Indeed. All right, let's get it on.
That was the impetus of me leaving.
Whitney moved out of Penthouse 4, and it was due to an argument that Ms. Heard and Whitney had. Amber asked her to leave. Get out.
Despite Johnny's extreme generosity to Amber's friends and family, it would come out that Amber would berate Johnny for being stingy.
I'll write you a check for the extra sip I took. Is that okay? Stingy, you fucking piece of shit.
You're the one that brought it up.
Mm-mm. You did. You said don't drink my wine. That's mine.
I didn't say that.
Oh, you didn't?
I said I didn't think you were looking for any more.
Rewind.
Because of the...
That sounds like fun, doesn't it? You're sitting there having getting your sip on, and you're being called a stingy old bastard. When your money, it's your money going for 2 bottles of, this is what we found out in the courtroom, 2 bottles of $500 a bottle wine as a baseline for a day. As a baseline. If people don't understand baseline, that means that's your starting point, Yeah. So on a really day, you never know. You also have no idea where, money might be going for other stuff too. I mean, what a world, crazy stuff. Anyway, let's continue.
Gaslighting that seems prominent on Amber's side. The couple...
Look at that freaking look too. Like you imagine, you just see it on people. You can see the the demeaning looks they get. Like the court, the media focused on everything Depp did. They focused if he would laugh, if he would doodle. Doodling, by the way, I'm just saying, if you were put in a courtroom and had to rehash the most horrible things in your life, I think maybe I'd want to doodle too. You know, because it would take everything in me not to scream, not to yell at people, and also not to bust out. You know what I mean? Beautifully. Think so too. So glad you're a good man and friend. Thanks for the true tug. Hey, thank you. And I'm glad to see you again. Again, I'm glad you're able to be here. Again, not saying too much on that, just glad to see you.
Both agree to tape their disagreements for future reference.
Did there come a time when you and Miss Heard started recording your arguments?
Yes, and it was for this reason. We would have been talking the night before or arguing the night before, and she would say something. There would be these demeaning, berating insults. There would be these jabs. There would be.
And I did call you pussy, and I said I was sorry for calling you pussy. I called you one name for every time. I did not call you in Toronto. I did not call you. No, I did not. I did not call you a coward.
You have the tapes. Yes, listen.
Yes, I will. I did not call you that in Toronto. I have called you that before, but for everything, every time you heard pussy, which you're so obsessed that you got called, and I'm so sorry, that must be so tough that you got called that one name.
Anything to make me feel.
You know, and that's not about calling someone again, when you get heated, nasty stuff comes out. But you'll notice she even brings up that calling him that specific word is something that he requested not be thrown in his face, not be called out of anything. Again, it's not like calling you, it's picking out the word. That's the ugliness in the ugliness in letting your armor down for people is the fact that they know how to weaponize and they know how to hurt you. They find the things that will gaslight you and try to drive you crazy. They will find the things that hurt you, and they will stick them in you again and again. And that's what you hear on those tapes. When we don't have the Toronto tapes. The Toronto tapes was this, there was so much discussion about those Toronto tapes. But they would have been in Heard's possession. That's the thing. You got to remember, not only did Heard know that she was being recorded, but she was typically the person recording. Whether by choice or by accident, like in Australia, accidental. So the behavior that you see manifest, she always knows that she's being taped through that. She's the person doing it. So this is her on her best behavior typically. Like when you consider that is a profound thing. You know, again, we saw out of everything you saw from a Depp, all of those tapes and stuff, he wasn't the person recording that. He may know that he's a party in them sometimes, but he doesn't always know that. And also text message wise, you know, those text messages to friends, if you ever sit back and think, why did I see those? Well, that's because in the UK, his lawyers were so bungling and idiotic at the beginning of it that they turned over 10 years worth of text messages, everything. That was everything they could find. And what they found to weaponize was this idea that there were code words. Monster meant, substance abuse. That's actually what that meant, even though that's not what it said. And also when he texted his friends, which he never knew about. So in the middle of God knows what's happening, because you hear this stuff, you see it. That's all they come up with. We didn't have access to her like that. We didn't have her very often. You got to see her in a letdown, her guard let down in the Australian tapes because she accidentally recorded. So that stuff, that whole incident where she doesn't have injuries and everything, you have medical professional, that was an accidental recording. You have a few other incidentals there, but we never see the amount. He was put on trial for the world, even though, like, it says something about a person. Again, when they are the one bringing a case and they're the one that's put on trial. He was guilty until proven innocent. He had to bring all of this stuff forward that she made ready to weaponize. And even then, what's up, Hair Bear? Thank you for the 5 gifted memberships, Hair Bear. Thank you for that. I like that name too, by the way. Thank you.
Feel small and like nothing, because she would deny having said those things. What are you talking about? You know, it was surreal.
What are you fucking talking about? I didn't fucking even have a fucking thing to lie about. What are you fucking talking about? Every fucking fight, there's a new thing that you've convinced yourself is a lie.
I said to you, Amber, tell Travis what you just did. Did you just fucking, did you punch me in the fucking jaw? Did you fucking kick? Did you? And you wouldn't say a fucking reason. I don't know what you're talking about. I never fucking.
She had completely denied things she.
Did you punch me in the jaw? Cackle, cackle, cackle. You know, and again, you know, people always look at relationships and like, why didn't he leave? Okay, well, he didn't leave because she said she would ruin his fucking life. And he didn't leave because, I don't know, maybe he thought things would get better. Who knows? He said, though, again, he had one friend that came forward. I mentioned this yesterday. He had one friend that came forward, and they said to the world that, you know, the friends would look at this relationship and they would be like, why do you stay there? And he was like, because I knew what she would do if I left. And you saw it. And you saw it. And you saw evidence that everything she said was a flagrant lie. Again, you know, she still was saying he was her true love and he wanted her. I mean, it was obsessive, you know, and I'm not saying that with abuse, you couldn't have, you know, again, people get in relationships because they care, but her thing was supposedly terror. But when you listen to it and you look at the evidence, it was more like terrorizing.
She said directly to my face in a heated and volatile way. So I went to her and I said, I'm going to record us because I want you to hear what you've said to me tomorrow. And I did. When she was on tape, the first time, it escalated a bit, but it was clear that she was performing for the tape. So that was another clue that something was slightly rotten in the state of Denmark, as it were.
Again, that's supposed to be best behavior, though. Like that's what kills me. That is best behavior that you see materializing on those tapes. Those, by the way, why were they recorded? You know, it wasn't just, hey, it should be a therapy tool. Unfortunately, we've seen in a few cases now, you know, we saw the Sarah Brady, the text messages. No matter what you think about those were therapy related. They were therapy tools, just like this. This is supposed to be a therapy tool, you know, and but anyway.
He was very open and warm to them, you know, offered them, you know, whatever they needed. They were constantly coming around the estate.
Sean Bett, a former police officer who worked security for Johnny, remembers the type of dynamic Amber's friends and family had with Johnny.
Eventually, he let a couple of them live in his penthouses downtown for free. He would let a few of them drive his nice Dodge Challenger in and around town and take on trips.
And how long have you lived there? Just over 2 years. Do you rent or own that? Neither. You live there without paying any rent? Correct.
These are, by the way, penthouses that they're $1 to $2 million penthouses, you know. And again, you take on the added privilege of you're living right across with Depp. You're seen with somebody with that status. So, you know, when you're taking trips and more, that by its own right gives you a marketability. You know, it makes you someone and again, that market, I don't want to say, oh, celebrity makes you somebody, but you know what I mean there. I mean, these are people, again, nothing wrong with going to the flea market and selling your wares. If you do that, awesome. Make your bank, get your cheddar on. But you're not going to be living in a rock star penthouse. They gotta cheat to go to the front of the line. They got to drive around town in his car, a Dodge Challenger. They got to drive around. They got to floss, and we found out too from Isaac Baruch that the way money worked on top of it, so they get a free ride. Everything's paid for. But on top of that, they get a manila envelope every month full of money, full of cash, $5,000 or more, depending. And I'm sure on top of that, they were coming over, eating, going on trips. Who knows? I mean, God, imagine doing that and then having people turn on you. That's just, man. It's a profound statement on people. M4A now, thanks with Vibe. The part that stuck out the most was the movie did a great job of highlighting her vitriolic and abusive language and juxtaposing it with the trial. Yes, indeed. I mean, this does a really good job. And again, there are two parts. They're long, so I figure we'll break it because we'll break this in pieces. We're not breaking now. I'm not saying that, but I'm not going to sit here for 10 hours and live stream in one go. Again, I want you to go top of the chat. There's a link to this documentary, 2 parts. You'll get them both. $12. I don't have any, just a disclaimer on that. I have nothing. I don't even know the people who made it. So I don't know. I'm just saying this is good. It should be backed, the endeavor there. So, and the people who made it, hit me up, contact me. Again, I'll point people at your work for it. I mean, again, I'm tired of looking for something that addresses evidence, not just some, again, like the Netflix thing. We watch almost 3 hours, 3 episodes on one of the biggest networks in the world that's basically saying, oh, look, YouTubers. Oh, look, TikTokers. Oh, look at them laugh. Oh, this poor person. And by the way, somehow they influence the jury. Now, they're not telling you that. They're saying, look, this is the background. These are who these folks are. This is what they have going on.
You have access to the entire floor?
Yes.
And that's based on permission given by Ms. Heard?
Yes.
So while I was a frequent guest, I didn't actually live there until I want to say about October or November.
Why did Josh look? Like even that shirt at least fits. But like in his videos, like did later on was he like, man, I saw myself enough in elevator surveillance videos. Maybe I'll get some fitting shirts. They could be bigger. Like I wear big Hawaiian shirts. I like that type. I like the Tommy Bahama type shirts. Big old shirt. I'd wear a like 40X if they made one. I'd tint in that sucker. But I'm not going to shop at the Baby Gap. Oh, by the way, with somebody mentioned too, yes, when you pick this up, you're not renting. When I say $12, I think there's a rental price too, but I'm telling you the own price is 12 plus tax. So you own both parts of it.
2015.
Did you or she have a key that allowed you access to all of the penthouses on that floor?
Everything except PH2, yes.
Did you have an opportunity?
So there's another point too. They didn't just get a penthouse. If you listen to it's really made evident when you listen to the discussion about that last day, because they talk about the access they were using, what they called a closet. They would say, oh, we were using like a closet, or we were using their closets like a freaking, bigger than most people's apartment rentals. I mean, it's crazy when you look at the layout. But if you look, they're talking about access to all these different penthouses that they were using. So really, aside from Depp and Heard's personal penthouse, these folks can come and go as they pleased. You talk about flushing. Man, they flushed a good life. And then they joined up with a liar because they thought that person would back them. And look where they are now. None of them. You saw Josh Drew pop up a few times when he was needed for testimony. He was flown out and stuff. But most of them, again, have been jettisoned into space. They don't matter anymore. And that seems to be the go-to. I mean, even Tasha Van Ree unfollowed. I haven't done a video on that, but I thought it would be worth mentioning too. You know, she recently unfollowed AH as well. Maybe she finally got to the point where she was like, oh my God. Because, you know, she was the go-to to excuse the worst behavior as possible. And, you know, a lot of people, they see the PR. They know what's going on. And they want to, they disconnect. Even though we're told, oh man, this poor person, look at what the world did in the response to what they did. You have everybody that attaches that walks away. Even people like, again, professionals, like a Momoa. Like that, of all things, that struck me.
Ready to observe how Miss Heard's friends and families treated Mr. Depp?
They were obviously very pleasant to him because from observing, they were taking advantage of him. So they were being obviously extra nice to the hand that feeds them. Yeah. And that's just progressed over a period of time.
You've met Amber Heard?
Oh, yeah.
Paula Baby, a former assistant to a friend of Johnny, was present at.
By the way, props to Colonel Kurtz there. You saw Colonel Kurtz come up in that. Colonel Kurtz, a good channel. There are a lot of people here. I don't know if you know her channel. Look it up. She covers a lot of cases. Like me, I'm obsessive compulsive. Like for real. I'm not. What I mean is I see something, I gotta make everything arrange and understand it. So I'll stick with something a long time. But like Kurtz does a good job of juggling cases, still doing diligence, looking through very well. Manson case, for example, the stuff that happened with Rammstein recently that the police did not do anything with. Again, props. But this is an interview from there. So
at a party at the Penthouse in the Eastern Columbia building.
Amber, Johnny, Amber's dad and her mom, and then a few other people. I don't know who they were. I think Raquel, she was there. And I found it strange that none of his family was there. You know, it was just her friends.
Okay, it'll.
Huh.
Happy Valentine's Day, everybody. Oh, it's public.
Well, did you have to take any plates back? Was there anything to take back? No, we left.
Yeah, I wonder what else is in those surveillance tapes, by the way. You know, I mean, you see some stuff, you're like, whoa, wait, what now? And again, in your relation, this is one of the problems with prying into relationships. You know, you don't know what's okay with the Depp. If he's okay with whatever, then that's his business. But you know, a lot of stuff he wasn't okay with. You know, like a Eastern Columbia building personnel in the UK trial telling you that Elon Musk had his own key. He was up there enough, you know, he should have gotten frequent flyer mileage, you know. I mean, so yeah. I wonder what other videos are out there. Snuggle Struggle, what's up? Thanks for the 20. If possible, could you compare narratives between this and the Netflix hit piece? I earnestly believe Netflix's main purpose was to censor creators exposing Heard's true nature, to pollute public opinion, and further deride Depp. Yeah, I think it's okay. Netflix. First of all, the company itself is not neutral. The company itself has connections that make them Heard supporters, even though they will tell you publicly they aren't. I don't know Emma Cooper from Jack, so I don't. But her own interviews, when she interviews with people like Marlo Stern for the Rolling Stone, made it pretty clear that yes, they were targeting. They're targeting some of that. You obviously have to question. Revenge comes in. Anyone who backed evidence. I hate to say back Depp because I shorthanded, I will say that over and over again, but really just back where the evidence went with it. Everyone's had to pay. witnesses, the jury had to pay for these people. YouTubers. So there's part of that. But also, yes, it's about framing things so you don't, the next Depp, it's not just about Depp. Big money, billions of dollars. I mean, this is, I've said this repeatedly. This entire narrative of male aggressor, female aggrieved is a multi-billion-dollar narrative. Places that tell you that they're nonprofit, where do you think they get their money from? They get their money from that narrative. Now, I'm not trashing every one of them. I'm just saying, yeah, I mean, when you look at the money, then you look at some of the most powerful organizations that are backers. I mean, when you got ACLU in your corner, that's monster, private donor company, accountable, beholden to what? But they have political power and more. Yeah, the media too. I mean, as far as that, there's a lot of money in locking out the competition, and that's how they see it. You know, you see the journalists that get pissed off because they spent so much time becoming the very thing that other people just they do casually, like, you know, they and they don't like that. They don't like that people don't turn to them anymore. So, I mean, there's so much. I think with the Netflix, it is about, it's just like, I used to teach psychological statistics, okay? And in that, you would have to drill into people's head about confirmation bias, okay? Even the most well-intentioned people, if you go into, you have to ask a question. You have to posit something and then look at the numbers. Now, if you go into the numbers trying to prove an outcome, you will bias that because you will find something. Even if you say, oh, like in this, for example, if you were looking for numbers that confirmed that AH, you know, was railroaded here, you could find that. Or if the numbers didn't back up, you could still make the outcome back that. On this, they just take a bunch of evidence and they're like, look, compare this with their own words. Understand the players in this. Look at who they are and what this is. Because, you know, like, nobody brings up the people. Nobody brings up the conspirators. They say, oh, man, they had all these people that said. First of all, they didn't have a lot of people. They just had this tight-knit group of people that, yet they had every reason in the world to go with a narrative. Because it looks like a payday for them.
Left it in PH5. Okay. Was there somebody else that was going to clean it up?
The next day, the housekeepers were going to come.
So your expectation was housekeepers
Yes.
that worked for them were going to clean?
Yes.
Okay.
You don't even have to clean up after you start.
Because I think what's amazing about you is that you have turned kind of being a real kind of character actor into, well, like, you're the best character actor in the world. Well, you are. Lord, man. Well, because most characters.
After establishing a lustrous career and achieving historical success as once-in-a-generation character actor, one would think Johnny at this point would be leading a serene life, surrounded by a similarly accomplished, dignified group of friends of his caliber. But instead, his environment became full of what sounds like a group of young imposters with often...
That's actually a very good point, too, okay? Like, when you look at this success level, so let's pull that up. I want that picture. Come on. Rewind. Rewind for me here. I'm going to let play for a second.
Caliber. But instead...
There we go. Okay. Sorry about that. All right. So when you look at his surroundings, it was also, you know, her narrative, she changed this from the UK to the US. Her narrative in the UK was, you can prove that he was a monster because he cut her off from everyone. He cut her off from the outside. He wouldn't let her do anything or see anyone. And yet, look at his surroundings. Who lives around him? It's majority people that are there with or for her. Why does Whitney look pissed off all the time too? That I noticed even in the pictures from Spain right now, she just always looks mad. I mean, you know, and she didn't always look that way. Like, if you go back, you saw the pictures of them walking down the street together, you know, with when they were young and hungry. You know, when they were calling it paparazzi, we heard that they would pick up two tabloids every single time. Maybe she doesn't like the narrative that surrounds her now. I'm not really sure, but I don't know. But yeah, when you look at this is a very good point. You know, at the pinnacle of success isn't, he's not surrounded with success or successful people. And he's also not surrounded with people that celebrate said success. He's surrounded with a bunch of people that are taking advantage, and they're very much plotting behind his back, as we've seen in many texts.
His environment became full of what sounds like a group of young imposters with often ambiguous.
Look at like the ambiguous jobs. Okay, so you have, again, and the way that they frame things. So you have Rocky here, or what would she say? Well, I teach yoga, and on top of teaching yoga, I run a jewelry business. Again, jewelry business means I go to flea markets and sell bead necklaces and stuff like that, you know, and flash the Depp name and, you know, make sure that I can sell with that. Another one here, I'm a mentor. What does that mean? You know, and that's not saying that these things aren't real. You can be a successful yoga teacher, but there's no proof of success. There's no money. They're if they're making anything, they're just they're depositing it, you know, in their own pockets. But mentor as in how? Coach? So you're telling me you're a life coach here? It always kills me when people tell me that they're life coaches, by the way, and they have no life experience, like their experience has been, but life coach and a spiritual teacher. Again, there are people that can monetize and make that work, but do these people do that? No.
Self-assigned job titles.
I was a photographer and I worked for the New York Times, I think.
I worked for the New York Times, I think. I think I worked for You know, it's funny. Like, I can remember most of the places they've done things like hit pieces on myself because I'm like, oh, man, you know, names on that. It's kind of funny, right? You know, but I can remember that just from hit piece. I would think that if my life ambition was to be a certain thing, I would think I kind of would remember that, right? But it says in there, you notice the statement too. I was a photographer, and not I was a photographer that. Like, there's a kicker there too. You notice that I was a photographer and I worked at the New York Times, you know? I mean, that's like, wow, you know? I think I worked for the New York Times. Somebody, you know, I'm curious about that. Has anybody ever looked into that, by the way? It'll have a little delay here, but I'm curious. Did they ever do any work for Io Tell It Right? Did they ever do any work for that we know of? Because I'm not sure. I've never been that interested, but I am curious since they don't know. Maybe other people will.
I don't recall exactly everything, but
What do you do for a living?
I am a yoga teacher.
Okay. How long have you been a yoga teacher?
About a year and a half.
And you work at a yoga store?
Studio.
Studio?
I graduated high school.
Okay.
I took community college.
Okay. How many years of community college did you
One.
complete? 1 year.
Okay, so they went to community. Again, if you go to college and don't finish, this is a point I'm making. You know, don't take, like, some people take things as if they're pointed at you. And community college can be valuable. I went to community college before I went to college. It was a good way to, you know, before I went to a 4-year institution, I kept my payments at a minimal place. You know, it let me afford to do that, and it let me afford to build up, so I could actually get financial assistance and prove that, yeah, straight A's. I can drop that. Give me some financial assistance. But 1 year you did not finish, so throwing that in, okay, and you're a yoga teacher. But how does that factor in? So community college, typically, it's just a way. If you're talking about one that you can transfer what you do to a degree, you either have degrees that by themselves, a 2-year degree can tell a place that, yes, you will spend 2 years and you can focus. So that can have its own value. But by and large, if you did have a 1-year degree, they typically don't translate that well. And especially like if you had if they have a yoga degree, yoga teacher degree, I don't know. I'd be curious what they did there, you know.
Worked for the New York Times as a journalist and photographer.
Oh, so there we go.
You sell jewelry that you make?
Yes.
Okay.
So IoTell did say, by the way, that they did work for there as a journalist and a photog. I'm gonna have to look up IoTell right and see what all they have as their credentials.
And you've done that for how long?
About 3 months.
Okay, 3 months.
You notice another thing with their statements too. So if you look at the timeline of how long they've been employed doing these specific jobs, like them, year and a half, that falls right into the relationship time period. So they've been able to go out and market themselves as this thing because they're underwritten by somebody with a lot of money. You know, I mean, jewelry maker, you know, for what they call jewelry, like my 9-year-old makes jewelry, fun jewelry too. You know, I mean, she has fun. She makes bead necklaces and all kinds of stuff. She loves making crafts. Yeah, maybe I should tell her. Maybe she runs a jewelry store. Maybe I should tell her. I'd be like, yo, you know, no, I better not. She'll think I owe her money. She's like, if I got a job, Dad, that means that you should be paying me. I'm like, no. Maybe I would tell her. But I mean, for all intents and purposes, I guess she owns a jewelry store too, right?
Where do you make your jewelry? At my desk, my kitchen.
What is your profession today?
What's it today?
I'm a writer and a producer.
What are you producing? Lies? I mean, what the shit is that? So this is her 2022. I'm a writer. Okay, well, what does that mean? Again, if you call yourself a writer, there are many things there. You know, many people that do nothing call themselves writers. Many people that are in the process of doing something, they call themselves writers. Like, what have you done with that? That is not a monetary profession there. You know, and the statement with that is, what were they doing too when they had the clout or credential with, say, a Depp? They could get them jobs. They could get them publications versus what they do now, you know? Like, how successful in endeavors are some of these folks? I would be very curious to have like a VH1 type. Where are they now?
What is your occupation?
I run my own hospitality development consulting firm.
Are you also a chef?
Not anymore.
What, if any, education?
Hospitality. What? Hospitality development. What does that mean? Hospitality development consulting firm. What does that mean? Hospitality consultant. I'm looking at this. I'm sorry. I've got to know, you know. So they're food service. Okay, so it's a food service place is what it is. That's where the chef comes in. I had to look that up. That's a lot of words to say. Basically, we catered. That seems to be what that means. If I'm misstating that, someone can let me know. But that seems to be what's being stated there.
Education have you had since high school?
I have my associates.
And between 2011 and through the present, have you had any other professions other than photographer, writer, or producer?
You notice Josh Drew didn't put in knife sharpener, by the way. I don't know if, like, some of you may not realize I put this on my Twitter again, because this didn't get covered in Netflix or really other places. Remember, all texts that you see from Johnny Depp are supposed to be taken literally by these folks. They tell you, oh man, you know, if he's talking about burning the witch, well, take it quite literally, even though there was never a bonfire with any witches that I'm aware of. But Josh Drew was having conversations with her. Apparently, from the way that the conversation framed, it sounded like they had multiple conversations, and they were talking about having a talk with Johnny Depp and bringing knives to threaten him. Now, if every conversation is literal, then that is just a straight up threat. But of course, that's the I love that catch-22 too, because you can read through the commentary anytime something like that's posted, and you'll have all the herdies. They'll be like, "Oh, that's just a joke," and I'm like, "Well, there's no jokes though. Remember, everything is literal."
Yes.
And what are those?
I've hosted a television show or two.
What?
I made some podcasts.
A television show?
I wrote 2 other books. 2 books, 3 books.
I know the type.
So they hosted a television show. Are they saying that like a YouTube show or a podcast? Like if I put it on, is this a TV show by their stands? I mean, we do have we do have a few followers. So does that mean I'm a successful TV host? Hey there, and welcome to my successful podcast, where I am hosting the biggest TV show ever. I mean, well, what does this mean exactly? Wrote 2 books. Hey, we've published some comic books so far. So I would be like, successful published writer, the host of the biggest show ever. Jewelry maker extraordinaire, since I do help my daughter make bead necklaces. So, man, I'm going to have to come up with a new resume, because I think I've been shorting myself on all of my talents lately, Good Lord. Manic Malice, thanks for 5. Emailed you, IOs, info, work history, hospitality consultant, can be hotel operations, remodels, efficiency, renovations, updates. Thank you. I was curious about that. Thank you, too. I'll look through that resume in just a second, too. Joetta, also thank you for 20 there. IO Tell It Right has a Wikipedia page for whatever that's worth, since anyone can make them. I know I made one for a musician. Okay, well, I'll have to look that up, I'll have to look at this. While this is going through, I'm going to look at IO Till It Right's background and see, what they actually include in there.
Come to LA with stars in their eyes, but few, if any, have the talent to make it. So they star fuck.
Yeah.
She's dating some douche canoe with a stupid name.
What's Io's real name? Io?
It's Io.
Iho.
Iho.
Yeah, that's it.
He had his number of houses on that street, and there was a constant rotation of different people coming to town who he would let.
And when you stayed at the Eastern Columbia building, did you stay in one of the penthouses?
Yeah.
Oh, yes. People were mentioning that. I didn't catch what you were saying. So IO Till It Right apparently co-hosted on Catfish. That show on MTV? So they were part of that. That's hilarious, man. I didn't realize that. And they write about depression and anxiety. Here's the thing. What makes somebody feel that they have the credentials to write about that? I realize that you can have a first account, dealing with that, but what gives them the credential to write about that? Well, like I see clients for that kind of stuff. So I mean, so it does make me wonder. But MTV's Catfish, that's actually kind of funny considering. I mean, yeah, hooking a star and taking a lot of money. Yeah, there's Denise Clark Custom Art said, yeah, probably the Catfish show. Yeah, thank you too. Thank you for $10 on that, and thank you for noting that too.
Yes. And did you understand that penthouse was owned by Mr. Depp at the time?
I assumed it was, yes.
Living fat.
Johnny
baby.
has admittedly been suffering with addiction most of his life. And now, thanks to Amber and his indiscriminate generosity, he finds himself in a chaotic cycle of the typical ambitious people that flock to Los Angeles, in and out of his homes, occupying his space, and even claiming his neighborhood.
That's what I'm saying. They utilize it for clout and credential. They put his name in tags. They would do that for their, for him or Heard when she was connected. They would put them for, you know, jewelry and other stuff. But yeah, I mean, they're like, hey, here's my neighborhood. Check that out. Well, is it really your neighborhood?
And then there is the toxic, explosive relationship, all of which appear to exacerbate his struggles with addiction.
It does not affect you psychologically at all. Look it up. I don't fucking care. I won't talk about fucking it anymore. You can fucking look it up. It clearly doesn't work, does it? No, you don't. And it doesn't calm you down psychologically. It's supposed to slow your heart rate down.
The Bahamas. Now, the Bahamas became like, I can imagine somebody taking me in withdrawals and utilizing withdrawals as a weapon, because that's a low. It's a low that we heard about keeping somebody's medication away. If you've never withdrawn from a substance, because I've had a drug abuse history long now. You know, I've not had that for any time. Kids basically were the best thing, you know, when I knew I would become a parent. I was like, no more of that. You know, get right, because I had a doctor tell me one time, he asked me straight up, he was like, do you want to be a loser? And I was like, no. And he was like, well, you know, if the only people, he was like, you don't want that, and the only people that you'll care that that'll have that opinion about you at the end of the day, it'll be your kids. And if you don't want to be a loser forever, you have it right. Like that's a powerful message, to be honest. You know, he phrased it better, but still, I mean, it was a blunt message, but it was a good message there. But if you've never been through withdrawals are some of the most horrific things. It's one of the reasons that people oftentimes don't quit substances, because take your worst flu you've ever had. You know, that tired and aching in your bones. You can feel the aching in your bones. You can feel it all through your body. It's like your muscles turn on you. You know, your ability to regulate hot and cold gives out. In those moments, there's no real good way to describe it. It's horrific. It is one of the worst feelings ever. And unmonitored, you know, people bring up detox. Well, unmonitored, depending on the substance, it can very much kill you. So medications are often given so you can alleviate some of that symptomology, you know, and wean yourself off. Snuggle Struggle thinks of Turn Crew have privilege written all over them, grifting off of Depp's name brand, just like their stance, their envy of Utah, clearly misplaced. Well, yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, these people are the epitome of life privilege. They are the epitome of it. Yeah, they got to make themselves not only someone, but at the end of the day, for years, they became someone in the aftermath because they were associated with one of the biggest movements ever. They became spokespeople for it, getting to write articles or getting to be the faces of it. All they had to do was destroy one person that was actually a victim. And they were gleefully did it. Beautifully, thanks for the two. Now, busted, fired him. Credit at Incredibly Average. I'll have to check. I don't just the IO stuff. I remember, so IO actually wrote the YouTuber Incredibly Average, props to Incredibly Average, but actually wrote them and threatened them with litigation and more because they were discussing what IO Till It Right actually did. You know, because IO Till It Right's story changed a few times, you know, where they, from the way I understood it, they claimed firsthand knowledge, like they were there at one time, then they weren't, and then, you know, it just, they forgot there were geotags on their posts. So when they were posting about what they were doing or where they were, you know, back at that time period, talking about, hey, I'm out here doing this work or I'm doing that. Yeah, the geotags caught where they were, and they weren't where they said they were. That's the way I took all that coverage on it. Again, it's been a hot minute since I looked at that. I looked over the players. There's some good websites for that. But yeah, knowing the players too is important.
Debbie Lloyd is a nurse. My doctor, Dr. Kipper, had assigned to oversee the detox and deliver the medications that would help with my the effects of withdrawal that one goes through, so that you don't go through the nastiness of the affair.
After an addict stops using opioids can be painful and severe.
You're freezing, but you can't stop sweating and you're just in a pool of sweat. It feels like ants are crawling under your skin, like food poisoning times 10.
It feels like you're the very inside of you.
That's actually a very good comparison. I'd forgotten about that part in here. Food poisoning. So if you've ever had a very severe case of food poisoning, I have. Actually, I had one. So I went to Bubba Fest, and that was a convention. You know, I went to not terribly long ago, a couple of years ago, I guess. And while I was down there, I got food poisoning at a place. I actually covered Bubba Fest with food poisoning, and then it was so bad that I couldn't leave. Like I had to stay there for a few more days, which sucked because I had to pay for it too. But even then, though, it doesn't give it all the credit there, because with food poisoning or something, you know, body turning against you is good, but you don't have the cold sweats. You can't sleep either. Nothing will make you sleep. That's another thing with withdrawals. Like you can maybe you can take something or enough to sleep for a minute, but you can only sleep so long. And again, depending on the half-life of the substance, some substances take much longer to detox from than others. And then you have the psychological addiction as well.
Is trying to escape the body.
It's physical torture, it's mental torture. You're literally coming undone at the seams. You're crawling out of your skin. It's basically like you're living in hell.
You'd have immense cramps in your stomach. Your muscles would seize. My body would shake. The pain is like nothing I've ever experienced before.
It's really, really miserable. And we use those analogies like body aches, cramps, diarrhea, nausea, sweats, chills, vomiting, like just this horrible experience, right? So it's really, really unpleasant. And it can last anywhere from 3 days to weeks, unfortunately. But with the right medicine, we can make that okay.
Opioid use disorder is probably one of the hardest substance use disorders to treat without medication, but the easiest to treat with medication. Without medication, and this isn't including those incarcerated, there's only about a 10% success rate.
I think it's a more humane way of dealing with people who have a very...
Yes, that is very true too. That's the success rates, you know, white knuckle sobriety, AA, no, not busting on AA if you utilize that, but things like AA, they have a very low success rate as far as they don't have a success rate as in continuing. Like if you need the therapy and the aftermath and stuff like that, that works. But if you're talking about in the process of getting sober, getting clean, but with medications do very well. I mean, there have been some amazing studies. That's where I start getting into the to the real work of it. You know, I understand it myself, but also, you know, as far as mental health, I get it too. What's up, Sarah? Thanks for the 5. Just watched this whole doc per your last video. Wish I waited. It does a great job painting AA just the persistent, needy, violent, and addicted person she is. Yes, and again, let me say this again. If somebody just tuned in. Link at the top of the chat. This is a documentary, 2 parts. I can't remember. I think you can rent it. I can't remember the rental price, but you can buy the thing. And you should buy it just because you can refer to it or whatever. $12 for it. $12 plus tax. So it's like 14.12, I believe, or something like that in US dollars. So yeah, pick it up for sure. And like I said, there's no need for a real disclaimer because I have no association with it whatsoever. I think it's important to back things when they do that.
very serious problem.
Where did you do this detox process?
I'm never comfortable saying this, but it's an island. It's a very strange thing to say. But I thought that would be the best place, the most private, where I can have actual anonymity.
Who came with you down to the island for
Privacy. Actually, you know, I saw them dogging on him because he detoxed on an island too. I mean, they've weaponized everything. But you got to think, you know, at that level, you have vultures that are swarming over. I mean, I forget which star was talking about how they were in detox. You know, they had gone to try to get their life straight, and they were talking about how not only you had photogs circling around, but you had some huge name journalists that would do drive-bys. They would drive by, get out of their car because you get breaks at certain times. They would wait for them to be on break, or they would smoke, you know, because a lot of people smoke during that process. And yeah, so you want privacy. If you can afford privacy, you definitely want it, and you want anonymity. That's the anonymity. That's one thing that I hate about these cases too, because it strips away the anonymity for every horrible thing that you have ever experienced, you know? Expect, thanks for the vibe. Still rocking you are. Still rocking you are. That sounds like a Yoda thing. I like it. Yes. Love it. Thank you.
the detox?
In fact, initially, my sister Christy was going to help Ms. Lloyd and the doctor through the detox, which made perfect sense since the whole thing had been born out of her desire for me to get clean. So initially, it was supposed to be Christy in place of Ms. Heard. There was a great part of me that was very uncomfortable with Ms. Heard coming along, as things could fluctuate very rapidly in our relationship. I was wary that those things would come up during what needed to be a very straight detoxification of these substances.
So she muscled her way into his detox. I mean, you caught that there. Originally, his sister was going to be part of it, but she pressured him to the point. She was like, yo, you know, I got to be part of this. I'm going to have to be, or else. And she gets it. Listen to something.
Fine, I did not hurt you, I did not punch you, I was hitting you. I'm not sitting here bitching about it, am I? You are. That's the difference between me and you. You're a fucking baby.
Because you start physical fights?
You're such a baby! Grow the fuck up,
Because you start
Johnny.
physical fights?
I did start a physical fight.
Yeah, you did, so I had to get the fuck out of there.
Yes, you did. So you did the right thing, the big thing. You know what? You're admirable.
So then why did...
So you see that. I mean, you can see the pressure in that too. You know, people needling you down. They beat on you. They beat on you physically, but they beat on you mentally. That's how they end up as part of that. That is not a direct conversation about that. But again, there's an admission of violence. Yes, they start physical fights. I wasn't punching you, though. I was hitting you. I didn't know there was a legal difference in that, but okay. Gloria, thanks for the 20 there. Rando Productions made the documentary. $4.99 to rent. So $4.99 to rent per episode. So you're talking like close to the same price, or $12.99 to own the whole thing. All they ask is please don't post the whole thing online. It took 10 months to put it together. Lots of money. Yeah, that's one thing, you know, when you put it together, like going over this again, I'm breaking it out as long as I talk through that. Again, it'll be broke up in pieces. We're not going to do everything tonight with this, but when we're going through, you watch it, but it comes with commentary, transform. And again, I debated the pro or con on it. And the reason I was like, yeah, you know what, going through this would work is because I know that the same people that made sure that Dior was told that, yes, support of victim, support of evidence-based, despite that mob, that was important. I think people will say that to the same place to put this together. So I think more eyes and, you know, again, I think it'll become a positive. Because I noticed the amount of traffic that this was getting was in the putting it all together, like posts on Twitter. Yeah, when you put a link in something, you're talking about at best getting a few thousand impressions. At best. So yeah, if you pick it up, posting the entire thing online, even if you found the entire thing online, again, Netflix put out their own nasty little documentary, and this, it's less than that. So here we go.
Did Ms. Heard come down to the island with you during the detox process?
She insisted. She switched places with Christy. When we were on the island, and it was hitting pretty hard, and Ms. Heard had made a deal with Nurse Debbie and Dr. Kipper to stay at their end of the island, and that she would administer the drugs, administer the medications that I needed to not go into these intense, sharp, painful heebie-jeebies. And there was a moment when I could feel my body starting to tense, and I could feel the withdrawals coming on, and they're not discreet. They go straight for the jugular. I mean, when your receptors are in full bloom and begging for the opiates that my body had become used to, that these receptors that were being fed by. I was sitting on a couch in the little house that we all saw on the island. Miss Heard was at the sort of kitchen area, and she was chopping vegetables, I remember. And I said to Miss Heard, I'm going to need the meds now. She looked at the clock and she said, it's not time. And I said, no, you don't understand. This is not about clocks and watches and things. I'm going into the ship, and it was visible. And I hate saying this, and I hate to have to admit this, but that was, I believe that was about the lowest point in my life. That was the lowest I'd ever felt as a human being. Please, may I have the meds, because it's really kicking in. And she was adamant, no, it's not time. It's not time. When I was begging at that point for the meds, I found that I had sort of rolled off the couch, and I was sitting on the floor crying, tears streaming down my face, begging another human being to please give me the meds that will take this away. She was adamant that, nope, it's not time, 4 o'clock.
That's not love, baby. And also, with withdrawal medication, there is a as needed. The way that your medication works, you have a schedule with it. You also have, and I'll tell you, the person that is laying on the couch counting every second, they know not only the 4 o'clock, but they know the plus or minus on it. You have a plus or minus so much time. And again, it's also contingent on how the withdrawals are. You usually have like if you're given 1, it's 1 to 2. Again, there's a lot to that. But can you imagine, again, he's saying this is the begging somebody, begging them for help. And then being like, fuck you. After muscling their way in. I mean, just, it's horrible. And it is a low place. It's a low place. It's hard to ask for help. It's hard to ask for help as a human being, but it's hard to ask for help as a man. Men are supposed to be, through all my life, Johnny Depp is a Southerner. He grew up in Kentucky. I grew up in Tennessee. And one of the things that you learn about substances is that, you're considered weak by people. You keep this secret. The sex, drugs, and rock and roll, sure, people can see the upside, but they can never see the weak. Because if you can't stop it yourself, I mean, what are you? And, to be vulnerable in that position anyway, and to beg, because that's not true either. You are not weak. People need help, but that's what's hammered into you. It's just, Heather, thanks for the 5. Someone from the documentary was in your comments last night. They thank you for promoting their work. Well, I appreciate them. Like I said, they should hit me up. You know, hit me up, and if you have, hit me up again. Hit me up in my email and on Twitter if you're there. You know, because again, I appreciate your work, and I'd be curious to talk about the process there, because you know what were you making here? How did you go about your process? You know, and that you're not going to see Rolling Stone interview them, but you know, I'm going to be blunt about this. Fuck Rolling Stone. These places, they lock you out, but you know, there's a lot more eyes out there than those places. Rosemary, thanks for 5. The last person who should have to be allowed to go with Johnny to Detox was Amber. Yes, but you know, she browbeat him into it. You know, sometimes with people, it's easier to just go along than, you know, you're in the middle of that. You know what you're going to, and you're like, oh, and you're hoping. You know, you're like, in any kind of vulnerable moment, you're hoping that person, that partner, they will be the best self. And some people do rise to that occasion. And some people, they reveal not the, you know, the ideal self, the one that you keep in your mind, but they reveal the true self. M4A thanks 5. I still get a knot in my stomach, a sense of depression and empathy for what he went through every time I hear them. Such sadness for real victims. Indeed, you know, it makes me, it makes my skin crawl when I listen to that part, because I mean, I've been there. You know, I know what it was like. I also, like I said, I know what it's like to ask for help. And I know what it's like to be proud. You know, I'm a very proud person. Again, as a man, I've always been told that, you know, I should be able to work out of any problem. I shouldn't be I'm a problem solver. You know, so your role, you know, you support, but also, you know, as an individual, if there's an issue, well, and especially substances, if you can't undo it, that's just you being weak. You know, even though people die from it and everything else, I mean, that has been the status. It is still, despite the acceptance that we have for mental health and everything else, it is still the go-to for so many people when it comes to substances.
So the only thing that one can do is you go straight to the shower. You have to trick the body to get away from the receptors. You put it on scalding, and you stand underneath the scalding shower. Essentially, you're burning, you know, your skin is burning from the, and what that would do is it would trick the nerves away from the receptors, because they had an immediate problem that needed to be dealt with.
Yeah, if you've ever had you know how you do that with the flu and stuff? Well, imagine that multiplied by like 1,000,000. That's kind of what it's like. And, you know, unfortunately, it only worked for so long, because sooner or later you run out the hot water. You can't keep the hot water going. I mean, it's just, it's miserable. I just, you know, the point, I think there's a powerful message for substance abusers. You know, the message too in this case, which was such a low message, is asking for help with substance abuse. The message on this case, and the message that the media pushed so heavily, was keep it to yourself. That's what they promoted, because you know what? If you ever have to ask for help, one day somebody's probably going to throw it in your face. And you know, I understand that. Like for myself, I have been blessed with a large platform to talk about things that go on, and that is something that I think a lot of people do need to hear. But I'm just this level. Like, this is nothing compared to someone like that. But even on this level, I didn't talk about it, because it was, you know, the way people they weaponize everything in your life. Those moments, they just try to grade you down, you know. And again, you let a handful of people in on that, and if you've got one of those people that's trying to destroy you with it, ugh.
Amber would take pictures of Johnny when he was passed out in vulnerable positions as a result of addiction and the medication he takes for it. Amber would even send the most embarrassing of them to her friend complaining, "This is what I'm dealing with." Ice cream.
There's the thing. Okay, you see the date, 2014. This comes up in the trial and it's utilized over and over again. This should piss people off because when you look at the dates for this, it wasn't some brand new issue. It correlates with what's being discussed. You know, you take items that are, they calm you, they relax your muscles, they relax your body. On top of that, you know, this is a man that, I mean, he's attuning, and then afterwards, you know, your entire body, you take substances not just to get clean, but again, your body has to reacclimate. So you're trying to get hold there on top of everything else. That's not counting work. It's not counting the insane session. And just on top of all of that, the volatility that is being faced in home life. I mean, Lord, you know?
Cream spilled on him and his head cocked back in a posture where his airways could have been dangerously blocked. This might cause one to wonder if that is what a spouse would do as her husband battles those opioid-hungry, addicted receptors.
Is it normal to take pictures of people like that anyway? If you cared about somebody, would you take pictures like that? And then her thing was, I took them because I wanted to show him. Okay, well, that kind of falls apart when she's sending them to other people, right? When she's weaponizing them to her pals behind the scenes. Saying, hey, look at this. This is what it becomes about her. You know, this, like everything else, it has somehow become about her. You know, again, that he talked about the want for anonymity and privacy, and yet she's airing this to other people who are, you know, airing it to other folks as well. You've seen the circle of people that are around, you know, they're gossip hounds and more. There are many of them, I mean, you just tell. There are people that would burn you if they ever knew a secret about you. They would mock and deride you. And you know they were. Heather thinks that too. I hope Turd finds a bigger monster than herself. Ooh, good luck with that. You know? I mean, honestly, at this point in her life, she's trying to rebrand. She's going to rebrand because the type of work, the type of appeal, it's not there anymore. You know, the type of stuff she was hired for and the type of things that got her into relationships, just to be honest. She could still be a social chameleon, but looks wane, and then you're left with everything else. And beyond that, too. I mean, she has been exposed. Of course, there will be people that don't care about that. They'll be like, no. Snuggle struggle, thanks for 20. I've made quite a few terrible choices in life, lost all my pride, stayed that way for years, earnestly believing I deserve to suffer. Only now picking up the pieces. I couldn't imagine that and a partner aiding such grief. Yes, that's the kicker there. You know, I'm glad you're picking up your everything too. And again, if you're going through stuff like this, do ask for help. And you know, if you're dealing with any issue, you can ask for help.
Capturing those pictures of Johnny in those situations came across in the trial as if she was preparing a case against him.
Yep.
It would be eyewitness statements. It would be evidence, tons of it, and it would be through years. And it would be unbelievable to imagine that either I'm in A, secret fight club, or B, I've had
a secret what?
I've had a secret fight club, or that I have been plotting to do this for 3 years, and while taking pictures of it and documenting it, just saving it up for the right time when I'm not asking for any money and have nothing financial to gain from it.
Nothing to gain from it. Again, I'm not asking for any money. I just wanted my own penthouses. I only wanted, spousal support. Obscene amounts of it. I wanted millions of dollars. I wanted vehicles. I wanted custody. They only had one kid. It would be a animal. That was their kid. That was their shared thing. That's why I honestly believe that the animal abuse was brought up. You know, she said that he was an abuser of animals. That's because they didn't have a kid where she could say that he was an abuser of children. They had their type of a child. But you notice, I mean, she laid out her plot. She was like, nobody's going to believe that I've been plotting all of this all along. I mean, holy crap, dude. You know, tell the world, Johnny. Tell the world, right? See what they think. That was the thing. It was a dare. And he was like, you know, okay, I'll do it. I'll do it. John, thanks for 5. I feel like she was sabotaging his rehab attempt because she wanted things to be available to her because she wasn't ready for that next step. Yeah, you know, it also, all rivers flow through. You know who's in charge, right? I mean, if they can withhold medication, if they can keep you from getting better, yeah, you know.
After that, I had a conversation with Nurse Debbie and with Dr. Kipper. I told them that she had denied me the meds when I was in need, and I think we have to leave the island. She can't be with me while I'm going through the rest of this detoxification. So we went back to Los Angeles, and then I asked Miss Heard if she would please allow me 5 days, 7 days, whatever it took to get finished with the rest of this horrific detox and the pain.
Did Miss Heard give you that time?
She did, reluctantly, yes. I was immediately accused of throwing her out.
Later in the process, Amber would reveal a harbored fear of being thrown out from the luxury penthouses along with her group.
Laura Walter had proposed that I would have to leave. I'd be kicked out, be evicted. So Brock and Josh and everybody evicted within 21 days.
I was accused of...
So you saw that. I mean, again, control, because she and her friends might lose their meal ticket. So she, you know, I mean, at the end of the day, like him getting clean, that's what you're worried about. What that says to you, that's kind of like that's not like an enabler, man. Let me use a word there. I keep thinking, you know, at first I think drug dealers. Sometimes I think, you know, the manipulation tactics, they remind me of the common pimp. You know, when you look at keeping people addicted, the manifestation of I love you, I'm going to manipulate you emotionally, physically. It reminds me of that.
Abandoning her. I was accused of not appreciating all that she had done to get me to this point where I was, which was kind of an interesting argument for me.
You ignore everything. You take me for granted. You're ignoring everything that I do for you. You do not fight for me, and then you want to sit here and make me sound so terrible to be around. You don't. Everything I've already explained.
No,
10 minutes.
No, fight for you. I don't understand.
You never ever do the work. Put in the work. If we're arguing about something, you don't ever try to get to the bottom of it, figure out, make the peace. You want to make it easy on you, so you split.
I begged her.
You saw that too. I mean, you have voice clips like that. You don't want to, when we're arguing, when things are getting volatile, you split. Like sometimes that comes out. It's not you stand and you want to punch or you do this. You leave. How dare you leave? How dare you not be my punching bag? And when you put that together with the other stuff, I mean, it does make a profound statement, doesn't it? SB, thank you for the 5 there. I think Dr. Kipper really did him a disservice. They knew what AH was. There's no reason she should have been in charge of his meds. Well, you know, to be fair in that though, they could have stepped in and been assertive with it. But Depp, he, despite everything, see, Dr. Kipper came out. They said you shouldn't be together. They told them that. You know, they were like, this is a poisonous relationship. You need to get out. But despite that, I mean, again, it's behind anybody. You've got to remember, like, she has been very good and she didn't just manipulate him. She's gotten in, if you look at her list of quote unquote conquests, as it were, I mean, she has a lot of people that tell you that she was many a different thing. And if you listen to her friend group or ex-friend group, like you have Io Tillett, right, that tells you as far as she reads pop culture items. She gravitates towards discussions that are geared toward that person. Now, when you listen to Depp, he's like, well, she's really an old soul. She's into obscure music and obscure classics. Again, this is somebody that becomes the thing that you need. And I guess in that situation, they're maintaining that gravity. They're making sure that you're caught in their gravity. Heather, thanks for the 2. Justice for Boo, indeed, poor dog. In 2012, thanks for the 2. Lost a finger. He didn't leave fast enough. Yeah, well, he stuck around there. I mean, that says it. The end. A lot of people point at. I mentioned this yesterday, or the day before, whenever I live stream. I can't remember. I think it was yesterday. A lot of people mentioned the pooping on the bed. That was the deal breaker, and it was somewhat. The thing, though, that broke things, in my opinion, was if you look at what happened that day. That day was one of the worst days in Depp's life. He had been given news about finances. He's dealing with his mother dying all through this process, too. He's dealing with, it's so much stuff, private struggles. Okay, so many private struggles. He's late to her party because he's finding out about his money. $500 million money, like you can't even imagine. She's very happy to spend. She loves his money for sure. But he gets there late. She demeans him. She beats him. She throws his phone off a balcony. He ends up leaving then, and in the aftermath, they seal that not with any concern, but they seal that before they go off to a festival. They leave him a present in the sheets. The poop heard around the world. So it wasn't just the pooping. The pooping was like, yeah. But I mean, this is a guy that stuck through the detox madness, stuck through losing a finger, stuck through having a cigarette put out on him. And again, a lot of that wasn't just concern and love. It was fear of what she would do to him. Because if abuser's willing to go to that level, again, he's high profile. He had a monster in his home. If they were willing to destroy him physically, like what would they do from a distance? They made it very clear. Gloria thinks 5. She gave Boo, Pistol, and Barnaby Jones to her dog abusing father. Yes. He trains fighting dogs and was arrested for it. Yes, that actually, yeah. So those kids that they had, they're animals plus other animals. Yeah, she gave them to her dad. The dad that she says is a monster, by the way. I ran across an interview. I missed this yesterday too. I ran across an interview that she did when she was 27. It got recommended to me on YouTube. It went into autoplay, but it was with David Letterman. And she was talking about her dad. She was talking about the great relationship that they had. And again, I know people will camouflage relationships, but the ways that she talked about it, he was there with her all the time. He was there on the set with her, making movies. She went into, like a joke and quib about his mustache and more. Yeah. She accused him too. She accused him of being a monster. And I mean, it's just, it's so crazy. Snuggle struggle, things with 5. The other contempt on display. Turd and crew. One could speculate that his financial advisors were active on Turd's request off the books. That's interesting. Never really thought about that.
Please, can I get a place at the Beverly Hills Hotel? I'll get you and your friends a bungalow, at the Beverly Hills Hotel where you can all stay together and have a
Holy crap, $8,500 a night. I'll get you and your friends a bungalow. So $85 a night just to have a room. Not mentioning the parties and everything. I mean, you're talking about, Lord. You're talking about in excess of $10,000 a day easy. So he's like, hey, let me pay you off just to not do this here. That's whew.
grand old flag. You can have fun. You can do whatever you want. And you don't have to sit around Mr. Shaky. She wasn't happy about it, but it was very necessary. So she did eventually leave for about five days or so.
You leave how you get another room, you get a flight, things like that. And you ask, and getting me a room, getting another room in a hotel is just the same thing. And you can go, I can't meet those demands, I can't do it. Or you can fucking promise me so I have a modicum of safety, I have a modicum of respect, a little tiny shit sliver of fucking like. And makes me far more stressed and far more angry when you take off, you use it to hurt me. It's a tool now that you use. And come on, you can't act like you don't do it knowing it's going to make me mad.
I'm not. It's not to get you mad. It's just to get out of a bad situation while it's happening before it gets worse. In Australia, when we had the big fight where I lost the tip of my finger, at least 5 bathrooms and 2 bedrooms I went to
avoid talking to me, to
escape.
To escape.
You saw that, right? So there's your point. You had to buy her off, and even then, she's not happy. You're not happy, so you figure 5 days, $10,000 minimum a day, $50,000 just to get a breathing space. But if you go somewhere, you're on a trip, which his sister brought up and he brought up as well, as his business advisor brought up, they would get extra room. She's not happy about that because he has somewhere to escape to. And like he just brought up, in Australia, you look at how big that place was. She just admitted, like, he was trying to escape her there. He didn't want to fight. He lost a part of his body. And in the aftermath, I think he came to the conclusion too, in the aftermath of things, if he's working on repair and stuff, he had the expectation that, there would be changes, there would be acknowledgement of the hurt and the horror. Dealing with that stuff and dealing with it privately too, because again, you have the people around him that know what you're dealing with. But it's very personal and it's very alone because who all can he really talk to about what's going on there? I think he came to the realization rather after a while that you can hear it in these things. It's just phew, what a crazy messed up situation there. Lucretia, thanks for the 2. Whatever happened to the JD's money he lost? Well, there was litigation. Part of that was we don't know exactly what happened with all of that, but there was some kind of settlement there. Again, the details to which we are not privy to. So I'd be curious how all of that came together.
There are hours upon hours of audio with instances where Amber admits to physically assaulting.
By the way, if you've never watched this, if you've never seen the 2016 depositions, you need to watch them. A lot of people have not still to this day ever seen them. You need to look them up because you can see Amber when she's had 7 years to work on how to present herself, how to present her story, not only ironing out details or adding on or subtracting what she wants, but also to work on the facial expressions, the sense of entitlement that comes out. Because that you want to see what this person is really like. It comes through very well there. Some people, I saw somebody saying, well, that's because she's youthful there. No, that's because she hasn't learned to put the mask on as well. The mask that she had no expectation of this ever becoming public either. And she's the one who made all this stuff public. I've made it clear, like, as far as relationship conflicts and stuff. I don't like it when you just see two parties and all of that stuff dumped out in the open. I mean, that's just, I don't like being a spectator with that. But she weaponized, she pretended that that non-disclosure agreement, it meant that there was some terrible secret behind the scenes. She all but utilized that to her advantage, and it worked. It worked very well. 2012, thanks for two. Just give me $5 and I'll leave you alone in a hotel just as a bonus. yeah, for real. I mean, 50,000, man, what a life. These people live the high life. It's insane for most of us that, you know, we go through our lives. I now, again, you know, I've been very fortunate to have a little breathing room in my life lately. You know, I have some. I don't worry about my kids eating every day. But for most of us that still, we have daily struggles. And the majority of people, even if we're removed from trying to fill our bellies with food or worrying about how we're going to keep our lights on, we're not very far removed from it. And it's a reality that could come across anytime. These people didn't have to worry about that. They could have been happy having everything. But the types of people that we saw on display there behind the scenes, they're just some of the nastiest, most vitriolic people that you'll ever see. And what they do is take people's lives apart.
Johnny, and many more instances that demonstrate her desire to continue conflict.
We cannot work it out if you run away to the bathroom every time.
Listen to me. Listen to me.
And Johnny's desire to retreat.
A boxer can't go 12 rounds without a fucking minute break.
I'm not giving you a minute break.
They also use that statement against him. This is how disingenuous her and her defenders, her PR push, her lawyers were. They use words like he's saying, you know, a boxer can't go 12 rounds, you know, talking about the quote unquote work things out without a fucking minute break. They were like, oh, he's bringing up boxing. That means volatility. No. But again, it's just like, you know, oh man, look at her. She's hit the wall. And they're like, oh, that proves it. He's talking about her hitting walls. And it's like, that's not what that means. And you know, it's not what that means. You know, it's because when you look at the evidence, this is somebody, the title of this part right here, you know, they were talking about abuse, reversal, you know, them becoming the victim, even though in this, they are the aggressor. And that's exactly what you see with her. You know, it's so crazy. 2012, thanks for two. Working on crying would have been better practice. Indeed. But apparently, you know, she had an acting coach, and even the acting coach was like, she can't cry.
You do it at minute 3 at the beginning of an argument.
No.
Amber and Johnny's couple therapist, Laurel Avis Anderson, reveals the main tactic Amber used to keep Johnny in fights.
I know she led on more than one occasion and started it to keep him with her because abandonment. And
that is a statement that is always glossed over too. You know, they love to talk therapists. They love to say, therapy notes. Really? So if we're going to do that, you want to weaponize therapists, then why aren't you talking about the therapist saying that she started physical fights? And she did that because her sense of abandonment, again, it works in, you remember the diagnosis. They talked about her personality. And I'm not going to apply the diagnostic label. I always think that's unfair in a lot of ways. Everyone that's labeled with a specific diagnosis is not that. It's a box. It's a category. And many people will fit into the box, but they'll be all over that spectrum. And typically, if you've gone in and you've actually gotten that diagnosis, you're trying to get help, right? You're actually trying to do something. She didn't. She wasn't going for diagnostics. She was going because she was trying to keep Depp in a box there. And part of hers, though, is this unrealistic feeling of abandonment. Everyone is the enemy. You're always the enemy. You're always turning away. And the volatility that comes with that, that's just, you know, again, that's, I'm careful when I talk about that too, because I don't want to excuse behavior, but you have to imagine the mindset of somebody that is not only the center of the world, but at the same time, everyone is one step away from abandoning. And, it's just that personality is so difficult to deal with. 2012, thanks for 2. Andrew Tate said, she had a different wall. She's old. Well, that's what Depp was saying, as far as looks, and that was him venting in anger. I mean, they utilize this stuff. Again, conversations between people that you vent to. If you've had friends that you vent to, I mean, imagine you're a punching bag for somebody. They've accused you of the worst shit in the world. And the response that you give in private to other people who are your confidants that no one knew about, that has excused the behavior. Like that was utilized. That's what it disgusts me in so many ways. Of course, you're going to be angry. You should be angry. Someone falsely accusing you is bad enough, but falsely accusing you of the things that they themselves do to you, whew.
Having him leave was her worst nightmare. The second one is what she reported to me, which is if he was going to leave her to de-escalate from the fight, she would strike him to keep him there. She would rather be in a fight than have him leave.
I don't want to instigate any fights. I do not want to fight anyone.
Ms. Heard had a jackhammer style of talking. She was very amped up. He had trouble talking at a similar pace.
I wish I had bought into the months of you being you. I wish I had bought into the promises. I wish I had fucking thought I could have kids with you. You're a fucking kid yourself. I wish I had bought into any of the lies you sold. Talk about fake bill of goods. You're the biggest fucking seller of fake fucking bill of goods. Talk about presenting yourself as something.
I did myself as a fake
Suck my
bill of
dick.
goods.
Suck my
I
dick.
fucking you left nothing, and I've left everything. So
That was a sound that I had gotten very used to. The raising of the voice to excommunicate anything that I had to say about the situation.
Did you ever hear Amber Heard yell at Mr. Depp?
Yes.
On how many occasions?
I couldn't tell you the number of occasions.
He was cut off a lot, and so he was really overwhelmed.
He was cut off a lot. He was isolated. Again, she said that she was the one isolating. Again, she had to drop that defense. That was the UK defense, though. She was isolated. He kept her cut off from the world. And that wasn't the reality there. Tanya thinks that her diagnosis is bad shit crazy. She's a mess. Here's the thing, like mental health, you got to understand mental health, in order to apply treatment, you have to have a diagnosis, and diagnosing a person, it may be an insurance policy thing, but it's beyond that too. You have to work on things. And people, they use the nicest things possible. With Amber, she had anger issues that were noted in some therapy notes that did come up. And when you read through the therapist notes, they're kind, they're nice, because you as a therapist are the advocate for that person. So when you instead of saying, oh, she flew off the handle, or she's raging at people, or she treated them like garbage, you say things like, she failed to use her coping skills, or we continue to work on her coping skills, stuff like that. Again, it's it's a minimization of what's truly going on. You don't keep, in the past, people would keep very detailed notes. And every now and then that does happen still. You do have therapists that do that. But by and large, especially with, like, that stuff can be used again. It's not easy to use it against somebody in court cases, but it can be used against you. You've seen that. This stuff can be utilized as a weapon. So a lot of time, a therapist will not do it that way. They know their clients. A good therapist knows their client. They know the needs. They take notes to really justify treatment with a insurance company and to give you some shorthand on what's going on. But yeah, I mean, it's something else. 2012 too. Thanks for doing my diagnosis of AH is bad shit crazy too. Just yeah, indeed. You know, when you go into the realm of mental, again, I say this with knowledge of that. That's my industry there. You know, client care needs, but diagnostics has always fascinated me because you know, and there are all these weird rules that most people, the majority of population, don't realize that, you know, if you have an unspecified, like you'll have schizophrenia unspecified, right? It says it after it. If you just had that word unspecified, I'm just throwing it on a random word. Insurance companies won't pay for that. They won't pay for a drug addiction main diagnostic unless there's a specific type of plier, but you can use it as a rider. You know, you can use it as a secondary. I mean, there's all these weird rules in there. So yeah, I mean, when you're looking at it, the art of categorizing and putting people in boxes, and then looking at, if you read between the lines, you can see what's happening. You can read it in this stuff, and it is quite crazy.
Start the fucking yelling, you know, fucking gets crazy. It's fucking crazy, you know, and that makes me not feel, for lack of a better word, safe.
Yeah, I mean, lots of name calling, lots of F-bombs, you know.
Who was the name calling directed at?
That was typically Miss Heard directing her feelings toward Mr. Depp.
What do you recall Ms. Heard saying in those instances?
Oh dear. It would vary, and to be honest, I tried to not pay attention.
It is such a weird place to be too. Like in this relationship, when people get mad, they say terrible things. And when you get angry to the point of you're not trying to be right, you're trying to win, then you will say terrible things. So relationships have their own struggles anyway. That could be friendships, not just, you know, loving relationship. But there's that line between understanding what is an argument and what is abuse. A lot of people don't understand how to differentiate between that line. You know, you had the mental health practitioners, many of them fell in that regard when they were talking about things on the stand, because many of them made it sound like any argument whatsoever that would be emotional or verbal abuse. And that is not the case, but it very well can be, depending on the circumstances, how it's utilized. It can be part of the overarching theme of abuse. And it very much, in Heard's case, it very much is part of it. It's this needling, and also this move towards aggression. You know, she pointed out size and stuff like that. You know, he's bigger than her. He's a man. People won't believe him. And that actually goes to a point about her lies. I mean, if you look at his hands are covered with rings. His hands would be weapons. And she's saying all these terrible things that he was doing. Meanwhile, behind the scenes, she's beating the shit out of him. And you know, he can't be lashing back out, because if he did, she lays out the case for you. If he did, what would happen? And what if simply wasn't on display. You know, that's one of the things that always, it works as proof. You know, people, they wear oftentimes the proof. They are the proof that something happened. And Depp had his own actual injuries that happened. It's such a frustrating case. They confuse people and everything else too. 2012, thanks to PT, make improvement. Insurance not paying. Yeah, that's true too. You have patients, clients. I'll always refer to them as clients. If clients do not show some kind of improvement, if they don't, you work on goal setting, you work on coping skills. If they don't show any kind of improvement, that's right. So it's a people just reading. I hate it when mental health comes up as as a discussion point without any type of walkthrough, because a lot of people, they confuse that whole subject. We'll talk about it in a minute.
Attention. I was just there to get Mr. Depp out of there, but there were times I've heard Miss Heard call him a fucking washed up, fucking deadbeat dad, fucking cunt, you name it. She's
attack you as your father, you know, as a father.
But Amber appears to flip the abuser and the victim roles in the legal proceedings. In the private audios, one of her main complaints to Johnny is that he escapes from fights.
But every time you don't like what I say and you fucking run away, we'll never work out anything. You can't run away every fight.
But in the legal proceedings, she insists that she's the one who escapes.
Did you just tell Johnny Depp in that recording that I remember hitting you as a response to the door thing?
Yes, as he was trying to get into the door, into the room, I was trying to escape in.
If she admits to hitting him with a door in private in the deposition, she's the one who was hit while trying to escape from him.
I was trying to escape in. He pushed the door into me, and I was trying.
Look at her face right now, too. Okay, you remember what she calls bruises, marks. Look at her face right now. Look at it today. Look at the way that shadowing and light hits her, the way makeup is applied to what is arguably cheek implants. I mean, look at that. Like, does that not look like the same mark that she called proof of volatility? 2012. Thanks for telling. I'm a lawyer that argues every day. Am I abused? Yes, you're a monster too. But I mean, look at that. Yeah, I mean, you can't have it both ways too. You know, you can't be the one that runs away and then call somebody a coward, attack them again, attack them as father. I can tell you as a father, that is something. Like I pride myself on being good with my kids. I want to be the best dad ever. You know, like if my kids have an issue, I want to be a good provider. I want to be there if they need something. You know, these are things. It's just like, you know, her dropping the certain P word on him that we heard before. You know, that's something that, you know, will hurt. But yeah, I mean, the running away. It's just, again, you should watch that in its entirety. Everything that came out with this, you had Incredibly Average and Jax actually went over that. It was very good.
Trying to hit him by getting him out of the door to stay in the room.
And I'm really sorry about hitting you with the door or hitting your head. I did not mean to.
She kicked the bathroom door into my head.
And I'm really sorry about hitting you with the door or hitting your head. I did not mean to, nor.
You didn't mean to hit me in the head with the door, but you meant to punch me in the jaw.
I meant to hit you.
You see that? I didn't mean to hit you with the door, but the jaw thing. I mean, she admits this stuff. Like, this should be open and fucking closed. If this was this is what frustrates me. This is what has been weaponized to divide it. There's distraction points too. There's distraction points in it turns men against women, women against men, because that is part of this thing. It's distraction. At the end of the day, there are admissions of violence. This isn't a war on women. This isn't about her, you know, her going out and getting with the sisterhood. Like I mean, it's her using anyone that she can while admitting to violence. Holy shit. You know, and the answer to that too, when the admissions come up, if they don't just flat out ignore that, they try to play this off as reaction to. Oh, well, that's a reaction to circumstance. What circumstance? You're talking about the guy who runs away? Oh, no, he doesn't. He doesn't actually run away. But you said yourself he runs away all the time. I mean, you would criticize and attacked him for it. What's up with that? 2012? Thanks for the It's just Amica cream. Is that what was on the face? It's a lot of Amica cream. Is that what that was? Dreamscape, thanks for those 2 months. I'm so sick of this crazy woman. Indeed, this would have been a blip on the radar, just a momentary blip in time. But the PR that has come up, especially after the trial, I mean, people focus there. Again, why? It is so much more than this person. They are a gateway into the discussion, understanding them. And all of this stuff proves what they are. This is accessible to every place that has put together a documentary, all of the mainstream, any of that. They have access, they have seen, heard it, or they have it sent to them when they try to break that up. Lawmakers too. So why then? And that really justifies the conversation in the aftermath, I think.
During this deposition in 2016, while listening to this piece of audio, Amber doesn't appear to be moved hearing herself apologizing for assaulting her ex-husband. She's casually snacking and rolls her eyes when she hears Johnny in the audio utter the words, "punching me in the jaw."
You see those facial expressions too, and you realize that this is in a moment where again, she knows she's being taped. She knows that this is for all the marbles, as it were, and this is on best behavior. Okay, that's best behavior. So you can imagine what it's like behind the scenes. You just imagine.
That you didn't mean.
The door? No, God, no. I
But punch me in the jaw.
I didn't. Okay, I'm sorry. I didn't
punch me in the jaw.
I meant to hit you, and I did not do this thing with the door.
I was completely taken aback by such a corrosive, horrific move. But at this point, the door was open. I stood up and I said, "What the fuck was that?" The next move was just a bang. She clocked me in the jaw.
I do remember. I did need to hit you.
So that you didn't mean.
The door? No, God, no. I didn't.
But punching me in the jaw.
I didn't. Okay, I'm sorry. I hit you. I did mean to hit you, but it was in response. I just reacted in response to my foot. I just reacted, and I'm sorry. It's below me.
Your foot? That was why you punched me.
Yeah.
And then you kicked the bathroom door into his head, didn't you?
No, I didn't. And
then you punched him in the
defended
jaw.
myself in that audio. You can hear it for yourself.
Right. And then you punched him in the jaw.
I also did not do that.
What are you fucking talking about? I didn't fucking even have a fucking thing to lie about. What are you fucking talking about? Every fucking fight, there's a new thing that you've convinced yourself is a lie.
I said to you, Amber, tell Travis what you just did. Did you just fucking, did you punch me in the fucking jaw? Did you fucking kick? Did you? And you wouldn't say fucking, you said, I don't know what you're talking about. I never fucking. That audio.
You see, I mean, again, caught on tape. Clear as day. Admissions of it. But no, it never happened. And again, it's not, it pisses me off just as bad with her enablers as it does for her. Because she didn't do this thing on her own. Like, she didn't destroy, the accusation alone will destroy you. But she used, again, some of the most powerful institutions in the United States or around the world to continue this devastation. She used some of the most powerful individuals to do this, and they continue to help. Many of them continue to do it. Some of them just openly and flagrantly. Again, if somebody was out there attacking people in the name of Harvey Weinstein, if they went out and they doxed people and they called the police on people for doing that, we would see an outcry like you wouldn't believe. But it's not only permissible for these folks to do that, it has become socially accepted. It's just one of those things. You better know that you're going to deal with that because, hey, it's just nasty. What's up, 2012? This case shows while trials need to be televised. Yes, indeed, very much so. Heather, thanks for that. I'll say it again. The fact that she thought the audio would cement her case is scary. The audio is appalling and shows she's a total nut job. That is very true, too. At 2012, thanks for the 2. Just trying method acting for WWE. Is that what that is? The WWE method?
Your recording was about trying to make less of what had happened by repeating some story to me that didn't make any sense. And it certainly didn't make any sense since I was there and I was the target. So I wanted some confirmation from someone with some semblance of a mind that could understand what was happening.
That's why he called in Travis. That's what he's telling you. You know, you're in this moment trying to spin this story to me that you yourself have admitted to, but you're trying to make yourself the victim in it. So I'm bringing in somebody with a semblance of a mind that could try to make sense, maybe decipher these abuse hieroglyphs that you keep writing on the proverbial walls of our relationship. You know, I mean, it's like, what in the world is going on? Uriel, things to do. It really shows we have a simp problem. I think it's more than simps. Again, you of course you have simps, but you have bots for real. I know people fall back on that so easily, but I mean, just look at the traffic. You can see it on Twitter. Twitter has a huge bot problem, an admitted bot problem, right? They admitted when Elon was trying to buy, he was going with 12 to 15% of all traffic on the site. That was what they were omitting to. So, you know, it's much, much worse than that. But there have been, so when it's convenient too, places that have backed Heard, they've admitted, like the Daily Beast, for example, admits that botting, especially for politics, has become a huge thing. People buying that, but they won't admit it with something like this. In fact, you know, that was one of her try to go to. She tried to convince the world that Adam Waldman was this bot master. And she went through this list of people that were supposed to not be real with the help, you know, of organizations like Bot Sentinel at the time, Chris Boozy. And it turned out many of those people were real people. You know, I mean, some of the people they listed, they didn't go through and even fact check. They just went in. But meanwhile, you have this army of accounts that you can tell many of them are fake. They've built bots. I did videos on it. They did it openly. They didn't care. They admitted to it. They admitted programs. Hijackers, conversation hijackers. They can put in 10,000 comments about somebody. Then you have crazy people that run 30 or 40 accounts. I mean, it's just nuts. It is nuts. John thinks with 5. Elon Musk is feuding the ADL. I saw that. Threatens to release many more Twitter files. Hope some AH comes out. I don't think he'll ever ditch on AH because I think there's something there. There's something. Again, you know, I'm not saying that he obviously something went wrong in that relationship because she abandoned. When he took over, I was like, we're all going to get banned. You know, we're all gone. But no, we weren't all gone. And that showed you when they all abandoned and went after him. I mean, that showed you something was there. 2012, a bunch of y'all. You missed a y'all. Thank you. And John, thanks for the vibe. JD is such a good boy. He bought a one-eyed horse from the production of Sleepy Hollow rather than let it be euthanized. Yeah, you know, he made the statement. You saw this in the very beginning too. So he made the statement that he somehow, in some way, he's never been accused of any of this. He's had all of the exes they tried to weaponize. Many of them, like Kate Moss, came out and said, "No, this isn't that person." Winona Ryder, like, no, all these stories and stuff. This is just tabloid fodder. It's garbage. It's not real. He's like, you know, suddenly at 50, there in that's when I'm going to start all of this. I've never had any, but somehow in this relationship, where obviously you have somebody that's with him that is indeed volatile. They're not the person. No, not that person with a history of volatility and violence. No, somehow it's him. I mean, it just doesn't make sense in the look of it. It doesn't make sense, you know, when you examine the narrative. It goes with what they've been saying. You know, it looks like a flipping of the script.
Mr. McGivern to come up, and I asked her to tell him what had just happened. Her answer was essentially, I don't know what he's talking about. Nothing happened. He's fine.
But you're fine. I did not hurt you. I did not punch you. I was hitting you. I'm not sitting here bitching about it, am I? You are. That's the difference between me and you. You're
What is up with that too? I mean, I get it. She's trying to say I wasn't taking swings. I was just hitting at you. That's still abusing a person, but okay. And then she's like, "You're sitting here. You're bitching about me hitting you. I'm not complaining about. What would you be? You're not the one eating fists. I mean, it's so unreal. I'm not complaining about when I hit you. You are. It's like, what in the world are you on there? I mean, what kind of... I don't know what I'm more amazed by in life. I don't know if that I'm amazed more by the fact that someone thinks that'll work or that it does work. I've learned that, again, in relationships, especially when people will try to apply this, but I've learned with the Amber Heard thing that, especially, again, the man on trial here, he's continued to be on trial. He's not allowed to win.
fucking baby.
Because you start
You
physical
are
fights?
such a baby.
Because
Grow
you-
the fuck up.
Because you start
Gummy.
physical fights?
I did start a physical fight.
Yeah, you did, so I had to get the
Because-
fuck out of there.
I did start a physical
Yeah,
fight.
you did, so I had
Because-
to get the fuck out of there.
Yes, you did. So you did the right thing, the big thing. You know what? You're admirable.
Even in the face of the revealing audios played for Amber when on the stand, she continues to insist that she's the one who tries to barricade herself from Johnny.
And you accused him of being a baby for not wanting to be in a physical fight with you, right?
Incorrect. I accused him of being a baby for complaining about me hitting him when he was trying to get through the door. I was trying to barricade.
And she came banging on the door, banging on the door, banging on the door. I didn't answer. I was in the shower. I didn't want to let her in because I obviously didn't want the confrontation. She was not in the best of moods. You can hear. Open the bathroom door when we went knocking on it.
You also have to, okay, one of the things that gets confused in this stuff too, when you're mentally transposing, we imagine events, right? So when you're mentally transposing images, when you look at Heard, most people are looking at that person that's on the stand, that person years later. The person you should be imagining in your head is that person that is shadowed out in the background. That person, the one that, again, can barely contain their contempt and their rage, even when they're supposed to be on their best behavior. When they're being asked about stuff in deposition, that's the person in the relationship that you should be imagining then. And it becomes much easier, there's been a lot of time, a lot of help, a lot of money that's gone into PR, again, to try to make somebody look more convincing. Because that 2016 person, you can see them as an abuser. I think that is a very relevant point too. Very relevant point. Like I said, a lot of people, I think, they just miss out on their sin. Thank you for the gifted membership, by the way. Thank you for that. Appreciate that. And Emma, thanks for the 6 months there. Wasn't him slamming cupboards considered abusive to her? But her hitting him isn't. Yes, exactly. Okay, make it make sense. Yes. Apparently, being somebody driving you to the point that you want to hit or kick an inanimate object, apparently that's abuse. But yeah, just outwardly hitting and punching and hurting somebody, that's not abuse. Yes. That was the theme to that.
After a few times I opened, and you just kept going. You just kept going, kept going.
And Mr. Depp was hiding from you in the bathroom. Isn't that right, Ms. Heard?
Incorrect.
Well, Mr. Depp said on that recording, I opened the bathroom door when you were knocking on it. Doesn't he?
I don't know if he said that.
Finally got out of the shower and I opened the bathroom door about Just that much, just so I could have a good hold on the door in case she tried to burst in. I was right, she did. She was.
So you see, I mean, again, you see how even when caught in a lie, the angle of the lie changes, and it's unreal there. 2012, thanks for the 2. You should look up false imprisonment. Okay, I'll look that up after the live stream and see how it fits in with the discussion here. Kristen, thanks for 20. Her whole defense was, everyone is a liar but me. And don't believe what I said in those recordings, just what I say here, right out of those narcissistic playbook. Indeed. I mean, it's so strange. Okay, so here's a question for you. We've done this for I told you it'll take a while to go through. I went for an extra hour today to get any more, but I will stop at my leisure, to make, again, I want to make sure to discuss this. That's the whole point of going. You need to watch these on your own, though. But yeah, I'm thinking about stopping here and picking up tomorrow or next live stream with where we're at. Does that sound good to people? I mean, again, we're we're making our headway. We'll get through it as we get through it. And you should, top of the chat, there is a link to this series. $12. I mean, it's plus tax. Not an insane cost. I think it's good. It took them 10 months, they said, to put this stuff together. That's what the notation was on it. So, yeah. I think it'd be a good break point, though. We'll talk for a minute. I think we'll break right here, though. So, that way I know if there's people that stay up till god awful o'clock. I mean, even here, it's it's only 9, but I know we get worldwide. So, Gloria, thanks for 10. I'm in one of the sidebars. Elaine says Amber hitting Rocky is an abuse. Yes, I saw that. And Camille goes, you don't call hitting someone abuse. And Elaine said, no, they just had a disagreement. Make up your mind, Elaine. Yes, that's actually a very good point too. So in the sidebars, if you haven't checked that out, a lot of people don't understand this. It's fascinating. Okay. You have the transcripts of the trial have come out. Now, you saw the trial, right? A lot of people are like, well, I already saw that. I don't need to see anymore. Well, you didn't get to see what the lawyers were actually saying with the judge. And the judge, oh man, some of the stuff Elaine goes with and the annoyance from the judge, but some of her discussion points are just absolutely mental. Like, we found out that Heard had hit what was her best friend at the time, Rocky. Now they tried to, every time I say that, I want to be like, dun, 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 dun. I want to do a Rocky theme. but no, I mean, we found out that she was hitting Rocky. She had hit her. And Elaine said that hitting another person was not abuse. That was just disagreement. So any volatility expressed by Amber Heard can never rise to the point of abuse. Remember, in the defense of her and what she did to Johnny Depp, they said that was just that was a response to abuse. So she wasn't an abuser. She was responding to what he had done to her, right? I mean, we heard that point to the point you were like, my God, are you kidding me? Is that truly going to be the way that you try to push this? Well, the response to that was an emphatic yes. Yes, that's the way they're going to go. But then you have sidebars, again, where you have this done to other people. And the other people that you can't claim that they're abusing her, but her reaction is volatility toward them. And if a person is, if I'm willing to go and punch my friend, especially, I don't see like guys with disagreements, guys sometimes get in fights, I mean, that does happen, but females and physicality, I mean, it's unreal how simple and easy this just drops to physical violence. for her. She presents herself as this frail, easily damaged person that could never do harm, never do violence. And yet there are so many instances that have come up that say that that is not reality. That's not the case at all. John, thanks for the 5. At one of the sidebars, Elaine is trying to bring up gummy bears. She is upset Team JD have been leaving gummy bears on their table for Team AH. It's funny. Again, one of the things that really annoys me, and it comes up in the aftermath, is that Johnny Depp, he snacked. Okay, they bring up snacking, and I kept thinking, we all saw the 2016 deposition with Amber Heard, right? She ate through that entire thing. So if snacking is a problem, why wasn't it a problem there? Oh, well, it's because Amber Heard did it. Okay. Also, drawing and stuff. Like drawing in and of itself, again, you're on the level of stress that this stuff has to bring up in your life. I mean, even people who have been through horrific stuff, and this is not to minimize anything you've been through, but we can't imagine, the microscope that this person was under. Again, you look at medical records where especially, oh God, the way that they went after him for medication with the unsealed documents. They talk about the unsealed documents being a big win for her. The way that was a big win supposedly for her was because he was taking medication. They said, "Oh, he's got ED." That's what they kept saying. "Oh, he's got ED." And that's not a big win. That's nasty. If that was done to a woman, if you came out and said, "Man, oh, she's barren," if you were to do something like that, like the reaction would be like, "Holy crap! Are you kidding me?" For men, and it just shows why you would want to keep stuff like this secret, because at the end of the day, we live in a world where, first of all, a victim can be put on trial, but the things that, again, Depp is being accused of not being masculine enough. He wasn't masculine enough because he didn't stand and fight. He wasn't masculine enough because he may have medication that he needs, or he may have some body ailment, and again, that was their narrative that they threw. I mean, it was absolutely unreal. And if you put that on the other side of it and you were to do the same thing, this is why men don't ask for help. I love the fact that when I bring that stuff up too, like as a man, I'm telling you, this is why men, and as somebody in mental health, this is why men don't talk about issues. This is why they don't feel like they can talk about that, because they're exposed. And that's utilized. Oh my God, you're such a sexist. Really? Are you kidding me? I mean, the same people that make this stuff, they use MRA, or men's rights activist, as a slur. They think that advocating for men to get the mental help that they need, because we have men not only trying the worst things to themselves that they can, but succeeding at alarming rates. We have homelessness issues that are just through the roof, and all these other, things that need to be addressed. These are issues that that men deal with on a huge level, and we should be asking societally why. And we, as a society, we put our foot forward and we say men should be able to go to a therapist. They should be able to cry. They should be able to feel. You go on Twitter and you'll see people just openly tell you, if a man has any emotion, if he ever cries, if he ever has a hard time, that's so unattractive. He's such a loser. Like for myself, I I think I only really cried at deaths and the birth of my kids. You know. Also, I mean, just to tell you how bad, even as a as a therapist here. So I've talked about as a therapist dealing. I worked with kids for a long time, and it got to the point where it just eats you up. It eats you up inside. Like it messes you up. You take on the symptoms of, it's considered secondhand trauma. Again, that's not taking anything from the people that do. You can imagine how bad stuff is where you take on that. I want to talk about that. I don't want to, even as a therapist, mental health, because it's weak. Because it's a man that makes me weak, and how you hear that all over this trial. You hear that, and it doesn't, by the way. It doesn't. People need help. But I'm just saying that the perception. But this attack on, it's not just an attack on men either. It's an attack on every victim out there. It's an attack on women. It's an attack on women also because it makes people distrust. Because of things like this. For myself, I would, like in my own life, I wouldn't take on someone that, to train someone in a job, for example, somebody shadowing you for college. I won't do that. I won't do that because I'm afraid somebody will accuse me of something horrible if I close the door. Because it happens. I've seen it happen. And I'm not saying something horrible couldn't, but in a world where typing an emoji at the end of a work letter, like a wink, there was a guy who accidentally typed a winking emoji instead of a smiling one in Senate and was sued for sexual harassment because at the end of the thing, at the end of a work letter, he had a winking emoji. I was like, oh my God. And that, again, that's an assault, not just on men, but it impacts women. Because you also have the weaponization of women. You have these people that are false accusers, pretending that you're all a sisterhood. And, we're all individuals at the end of the day. You have issues. As a woman, you have issues that I'll never understand. There are things that you're going to deal with in life that are your own thing. And you should have advocacy for that. On the other side of it, and societally, we accept that idea. Societally, though, as on the flip side of that, you have the people's response to that too. They say, well, society is already a patriarchy, therefore. It's like, are you kidding me? If it was really this thing, then people would already have that help. They wouldn't be doing this in alarming numbers. And yet, I don't know. It frustrates me because I don't want people to. I don't want people to hate people because of biological differences. I don't want that division. I don't want these conversations to be derailed by that. But they are. You also have people that never learn from this stuff. I become so frustrated with this conversation because you have some of the biggest examples in the world of what false accusations do to people. And even with that, you still have accusations that are they're embraced. They're embraced as if they do no damage whatsoever, because people confuse the need for empathy and advocacy with just believing anything that comes down the pipe. And that does untold damage. I mean, if you need an example of that, you have things like this. Again, there are registries. Remember, registries, these are exoneration. So these are people who went to prison over some type of false accusation false confessions, anything. But you look at the numbers on that. You're talking about almost 3,400 people, and the years that they lost to this stuff, they almost lost 30,000 years to these kind of things. These are the criminal items that end up with people in jail. Like I said, these accusations, they hurt. They hurt. They do damage. They destroy. At best case scenario, you never, people will always look at you like you've done something wrong. They always look at you like you're a monster. The accusation never goes away. That's even with people that have been cleared on the biggest stage. It's just nuts. Gloria, thanks for the 5 there. Ever heard as the thief of valor? That's in, that we see that in the military. Yes, it's the same thing. Hey, you can't be out here for a minute, okay? Hey, come back in like 3 minutes and you can talk, okay?
Okay.
Come back in 3 minutes. This is one of those conversations that, as a kid, you don't need to hear. Okay.
Could you mute the mic first?
No. Here, you come back in 3 minutes. Okay. 3 minutes. Then you come back. Okay. The only thing she ever survived is an empty bottle. Vegas, indeed. Yeah. Switch it from one bottle to the other. Indeed. John, thanks for the 5. During the beer bug, my wife found out my plans for a 20th anniversary ruined by lockdowns. We cried together. You should be able to, again, I do find it, there are people that, they just, when, they said, they record themselves, like Kevin Smith. Okay, Kevin Smith is the epitome of men shouldn't cry because of, Kevin Smith's out there. He's like, I cried over a Marvel movie for the 37th time. And I'm like, dude, you need some medication for that. There's something wrong, man. That's strange. It's strange to record yourself doing that. That's a different thing. But people actually being able to, they've experienced horror, being able to emote and ask for help. Yeah. And experience a loss. That's a loss. It's damage there. You should be able to, like as a man, you only have so many emotional settings that are allowed. You're allowed. That's why you see people like when Depp is hitting inanimate objects. That's because what settings are you socially allowed there? What settings are allowed in that relationship? His setting was to either he's not allowed to feel trapped and run away. He's not any of that. So you either have happy baseline, or you have this pent up anger because you can't do anything about your situation. So you take it out on a cabinet. Joetta thinks it also attacks the idea of men and women working against DV or SA. Yeah, to move towards solutions. Yeah, well, we can't even get together right now. The way that all of this insanity works, we can't even get together and discuss the reality of statistics. Like, if you talk about the reality of what's happening, with in families, if you're talking about statistics of how many people are abused, how many men, how many women, and you say things like, well, the reality of this is that you have roughly 1/3 of men reporting abuse in situations, then
Hello.
all right, that conversation ends there though. Hello.
It has been 3 minutes.
It has, huh? So have you come to cheer us all up?
Yes, because you probably made them mad.
I made them mad. Is that what I'm good at?
Yes, you make everybody mad.
You mean when I'm pranking you and stuff? Hey, you want to talk about the prank the other day for the I'm messing my hair up. You want to talk about the prank the other day? So look, she was sitting in her room. Her room, the way it's set up, she has a TV And then she has a chair where she can watch that's away from it. And behind her is her door. All right. So the other day, I thought it would be funny. I went and got I have one of those big portable leaf blowers, you know, and I thought it would be funny to, like, you know, bring the leaf blower in the hallway and be like, all of a sudden. So when she was like, crazy is. So when she was watching a horror movie, I was like, ah. I was trying to sneak up on her about that. I thought it was pretty funny. Freaking leaf blower, man. Did you say you made a mask?
Yeah, I made a shark mask.
Yeah, you make all kinds of stuff. You make all
I
kinds
can
of
make
stuff, don't you?
bookmarks.
Yeah. You make jewelry, right?
Dolls.
Dolls. You make crafting kit stuff. You've made like the
A
dragon.
paper dragon. I made 2.
Yeah.
I have 2 now
You take
instead
your
of
headphones
1.
off. You're very loud. Take your headphones. Yes, that's why it is. You got your headphones on. That's why you're so loud.
That.
There you go. Yeah. Here, turn off that. She had headphones on. She was watching a thing on her tablet.
Anyway, I thought Dad was done with the dang live stream.
No, we're watching a documentary.
Yeah, but I thought Dad was done with the live stream, so I was going to ask him something.
Were you going to ask me about another freaking one of those? What is that thing? A hot dog cat or whatever that thing is? What is that thing called?
Banana cat.
Banana cat. Yeah, that's like the oldest meme in the universe. But somebody was like, "Hey, Dad, I saw a banana cat. Can I get a banana cat?"
Be quiet or I'll take your glasses off your stupid face.
No, they are cute though, aren't they? Those little banana cats were cute. We'll look at one. Remind me after the live stream.
They're
We'll look at one.
so dang adorable. I
Yeah.
just want to take it from the meme.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, some people were like, "Who is this? This very cute sounding person? Who exactly is that?"
This is me,
Yeah. Who are you? Are you that little what?
Umbrella Girl.
How old are you by now? How old are you?
9.
You're about to be 10.
Yeah, I'm about to be 10 in a month.
She told me she didn't want to get older. She didn't want to become an adult. Why don't you want to become an adult? Tell
Because
me.
I have to pay taxes.
She has to pay taxes.
That's coming from a child who has never paid taxes before. So
Yeah. She's like, "Dad, I don't want to become an adult because I'll have to pay taxes." I'm like, "You got 8 freaking years left."
I don't care because in 3 years I'll be a sassy teenager.
You don't have to be that thing. You can. She also thinks it's embarrassing she's starting to get to that point where she thinks it's embarrassing to love Dad.
Not.
I know, but you get to that
One
point.
time I refused to leave the basement for 3 days. So
I know,
no.
I'm so cool. That's why.
Yeah, but one time I didn't want to watch a horror movie. Yes, I get older. One time I didn't want to watch a horror
Well,
movie.
it's because you were like, oh, I was like, "Hey, I bought this movie for us. It cost $15 to buy that movie." And I was like, "Let's watch it together, little one." And you're like, "No, Dad, I think I'm going to watch it by myself." I was like, man, rip my heart out and stomp on it. So sad.
I watched House of 1,000 Corpses with you.
Yeah. You watch anything that I have on. I have to skip half the freaking movies sometimes because you're around with some of the scenes in them. That's the unfortunate part. I'm like, man, they should make a PG-13 version because certain movies like that. Yeah, but let's see. There are certain movies that don't have a lot of adult language. When I say adult language, I'm not talking profanity. I'm talking, like there's some stuff in horror movies. Ooh, you realize, like we shield out the adult stuff, right? Yeah.
Yes.
We have to
because I
shield all that
protect because I close my eyes and plug my ears.
Yes, and some like that movie, it's like, well, we had to clear.
Learn what it is.
We had to clear out half that movie. I was like, man, well, I could barely watch any of it. She kept coming in and out. I was like, I can't even watch this freaking movie. But what's the best horror movie that you can watch? You think?
That I can watch.
Yeah, like my stance on
The Blob.
Yeah, the Blob was pretty. The remake, not the old one, the 80s
Yeah.
one. Yeah.
Basic, but I really like the second killing scene, you know? Like, it happened so suddenly. Like, I was expecting
Are you talking about the one in the hospital with the
yeah,
guy
like
who
the
gets...
second one where he's on the phone call and he starts to move.
Yeah. You know, they filmed that in reverse. That's why it looks so
You
crazy.
told me. You told me.
You told me already. I know. I told you. Oh, that's hilarious.
There's also this video game I want.
Really? Is it free or is it money?
It's for the PlayStation.
Oh, it's a what video game?
Oh, Marie.
Who?
Oh, Marie.
Oh, is it a PS5 game?
I think it is.
Let me
It might
see.
be a PS4 game.
Might own it if it's OMA or I think I know that. Is that how you spell it?
Yeah. No.
How you spell it?
There's 2 O's, so just get rid of the A. O-M-O-R-I. You almost got the spelling.
Game? Is that how you spell it?
Just.
Oh man, it type it. Oh, there it is. That game?
Yes.
The game's on Steam and Nintendo. Is it on the Switch? Is it on the Switch or just?
Wait a minute.
Or is it a Steam game? Or is it on your tablet?
You can't get on tablets.
Can't watch Disney anymore. Yeah, we don't really we don't
watch Disney.
We don't subscribe to Disney. They complain at me sometimes because I do not subscribe to Disney.
That's only when I want to watch Baby Yoda.
Yeah, well, I wanted to show them James and the Giant Peach one day, and for some reason at the time, I was going to buy it digitally. I was going to buy it from Amazon, and I think it was like $20 to buy. I was like, oh my gosh. So they had just gone to see a play of James and the Giant Peach, and I wanted to show them that, you know. So that was one concession there. But yes, we do not do Disney. Disney is
nope, not a nope.
Disney spends a lot of time hating their customers. So
it's just I've been hearing things about the Omari game.
Mm-hmm.
And
I'll look at it. I'll see if it's appropriate. Yeah. And good. Yeah.
You let me play horror games with blood, gore, violence.
But okay. Look, I'll explain that to you too. See, in
There's
life,
no adult stuff.
right? But with the blood,
any adore.
Well, see, it's not real blood. Like in movies, that's corn syrup or digital effects, right?
Or fake blood.
And in life, stranger danger is the problem, right? We stay away from the crazy strangers, right?
Yeah, but there's no adult language, both adult languages.
Okay.
And there's no adult stuff because they are little children.
Is it on your tablet too?
No. They are little children.
You hear the frustration now, Dad, Lord.
But they are tiny children.
Okay.
And I think one person being pushed down the stairs in the game is not going to affect me.
Okay.
I don't think that's going to affect me.
So is it on your PlayStation? Is it on digital, or do they have a
I think it
copy?
might be on PlayStation.
Okay. Well, we'll look it up afterwards then. Okay. Yeah, we were talking about crafts in the live stream. We were talking about making crafts, and I was telling them that you make all kinds of crafts. You know, you make jewelry. So
I'm going to reveal the most embarrassing secret to some kids that I don't think is embarrassing.
What? That you're short?
That's why kids are supposed to be, unlike you.
I'm not short, actually. I'm very not short, so I've been lucky in that regard. Yeah.
My dad's 1 foot tall.
1 foot tall. You're a nut. Where's that shark mask you made? Where'd it go?
Upstairs in the abyss. You look alien.
Hey, don't put that in my face. I don't want you to stab me in the face with that. I said. She set 2 lollipops on my head and said they were alien antennae. I was like, yeah, I don't want them like coming at my eyeballs. They, you know, that one of the things with live streams and this stuff. One of the things with live streams and stuff that I cover. I mean, we cover some horrible items. You know, and like I said, you know, one of the things, she went upstairs to get a mask. One of the things with the Depp stuff, again, attacking as a father, you know, as a dad, you know, I pride myself on trying to be a good father, trying to be, you know, available and everything else. And for people to attack you there, that's like that's a nasty thing, you know. And people outside of it, who cares? But you know, the people that could actually hurt you, you know, that, yeah, that's there's a lot of ugliness in that. So when you hear those things, you know, oftentimes people, they just see insults. Well, some insults are not like others. So again, when they're coming from somebody that has the ability to actually do emotive harm to you, they're not weighted equally, you know. I was reading some of the comments there, though. Yeah, that's really, I think that's very low there. She's got her dad's sassy attitude. Yeah, she's the, like, I tell her, and I mean this, she's like one of the nicest, not kids, but one of the nicest people I know. You know, she's nice, but she, like when she's playing, like she can get down in the dirt with like goofing off insults and stuff. She's pretty good at that. But she's gonna, you all right? Hey, you all right? You all right? You tripped over. She tripped over something. I'll be right back. She tripped over something. She's all right. She's all right. She does she tripped over an item in the floor. And she's like, say she's fine now. Say kids are interested in the automatic. Oh my God, I'm dying. I'm dying. I could tell when she was sitting there, she was all good. But Dad, the littlest one, so the baby umbrella, for her, like she'll, if she does anything, you know, and of course it'll scare her, but it's funny, you know, like parents like kiss your finger or something. She wants you to blow a kiss to it. So I'll blow her a kiss, and she'll rub it on there. She'll catch it and rub it on there, and then she's fine. She can run away. All right. Let me see your mask. Oh, that's cool.
And it actually fits.
That is cool. It won't fit on my fat head.
But it will fit on my head.
Oh, let me see.
Give it to me. Okay,
yeah, she made a shark mask.
I was debating whether to do it as a cat or a shark, and I was like,
Thought she played a prank on me. Nah, she tripped over a little something, and then
a lost
and she's scared
stand.
There was a tiny spider that ran out from around something, and she was more horrified by the spider. It doesn't have eyes. How can you see?
That's the question. I don't.
Oh.
I was trying to tell you that before you shoot me
Somebody
off.
said you scared 1,000 people there.
I am so sorry, you guys. I'm sorry if I gave anybody heart attacks. I will pay for your medical bills.
No, you
even
won't.
though I have no money.
Yeah.
Even though I have no money.
I'll pay for your medical bills. I was like, no, you won't.
Even though I have no money.
Oh, you're a nut.
But I tripped over a lost stand that wasn't even supposed to be in the floor.
Oh no, what are you tripping over lost? I know, I got the lost out and you're trying to break it.
Did you have to put it there?
Yeah. It was angling. It was actually after you. It was a conspiracy. You didn't know about that? The lost set and I, we conspired together.
Ugly.
You're funny. So anything you want to tell them anything before we get out of here? Go.
I want to ask them what Omari is about because I only know one thing.
Like,
thank you for the $5, Truth Seeker.
Yeah. A little help for a new video game if it's allowed. Yeah.
Yeah.
And typically, unless for me, again, horror is not a problem for me. I grew up on it, and actually, I hid it from when I was a kid. Horror was not as acceptable socially. You know, it was something like, oh my gosh, you know, that's something diabolical. Well, It's corn syrup back then. Now,
Hey,
some of it's digital nowadays too.
Thank
But
you, Mary and Maldonado. I think
what'd you say? Let's see. Where is it?
I think she's trying to be kind.
Where was it? Which one? You lost it. That's what I mean. Like some people are like, "Hey," with the chat. It's hard to keep up with the chat, isn't it? You know. Thanks to the mods too for keeping the conversation fresh. No, it's mashed potato goblin. I love that name. Isn't that funny?
Mashed potato head.
Do you like that though, mashed potato goblin? That's cool.
Yeah, but anyways, can they tell me what?
Oh, he said, "Hey,
about?
hey."
Because I only
So mashed
know...
potato goblin said, it's $24.99 for the PlayStation 4. Man, you save up. You're gonna save up. Man, you got a lot of work for $20, don't you? You're gonna have to. You're gonna have to work. You're gonna have to work mining diamonds or something. You know. Yep. Oh man. I have to. Oh, let's see. I wonder what would be good word for that. Oh, look, there's a membership. Can you say thank you?
Thank you for the one gifted membership.
That's Fallen Hero. Fallen Hero is always here too. I appreciate
you very
them.
much. But can you guys tell me what Omari is about? I really want to know.
We'll look it up. You know. Dreamscape said my friends were extras at horror movies, so we all got to watch. Black Christmas was strange when your friends. That's awesome. You know, Black Christmas didn't have a. You're talking about the new. If you're talking about the original was so. It was so hard to see back when. So you got a new, you got that new release for it.
You mashed potato head without the mashed potatoes. You burned mac and cheese because you forgot the water.
Me? Never.
Yes.
Oh, could you say thank you for that one?
Thank you for the one gifted membership, Slayer Selections.
Yeah, you know the gifted memberships. You know what that is, right? It's $5.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how you look at that. You know. Here's Death's Angel asked you a question. So thank you for the 11 months. And they're asking you a question. What do you want for your birthday, little umbrella girl? What do you want for your birthday? Her birthday is in October, by the way. So what do you want for your birthday? What did you tell me? That
machine!
Here, don't yell, baby. You're gonna deafen everybody. she's far enough away from the mic, so she's trying to make up for it. Yeah, she told me, she was like, for me, like from dad, she's like, get me a cotton candy machine. She already knows too. So every couple of years, we have gifts that come from family and everything else, right? But dad, I like to give a special, like I like to give a gift from me. So for
11 thing.
For her, I took her and we looked at it, a little ring
for
for
11 months.
Yeah, see, so they've had. That means for 11 months they've been a member. Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome, huh? Oh.
Thank you for the $5. Oh, it's a horror game.
Yeah, a horror game that's like Earthbound. Oh, that's cool.
Is it an indie horror game?
It's a smaller one. Yeah. Agnes, thanks for 13 months. Am I going to use the Tiny Tug channel? I keep meaning to. One of the reasons, it's just like locals and everything else. Like, what my problem is time.
We have our own.
Like a lot of people. Yeah, exactly. And a lot of people, like, you'll see other folks. I'm not going to bring up any channel. Just saying, most of the people that like I live stream and stuff with, they that this is all they do. So, and nothing wrong with that, by the way. But
okay,
I run
I
out of time.
Word with the unreasonable people in the chat right now. Why do you always want us to post daily? Like,
Daily?
first of all, we have our own lives to get to. We have people to see.
Actually, I didn't post today. I didn't post today, to be honest. I've slowed down on some of that. You know how we get to hang out and do stuff more.
Mm-hmm.
Where people have been supportive of the channel, like members and stuff like that.
Thank you to all the members, donators, or basically just any commenter that liked and subbed or commented. Like, that really helps our channel out.
You like that spiel there? Are you trying to? Hey, why don't you do us this spiel so we can get more memberships? Like, why don't you give them a pitch? See if we.
My dad's a mashed potato head.
Yeah, mashed potato. No, here, can you sell
my
memberships?
dad.
Don't yell, baby.
My dad burned mac and cheese because he forgot to put water in it.
I don't cook anything. I actually don't. But
You mashed potato head.
can you what I was saying is you were pitching memberships. You know, you were like, hey, support this because can you do a good pitch that will make people want to back?
Hey, support this because.
What is that? What were you doing that? What was that voice? It sounded like Mario. Hey, let's support this. Crazy. You're a nut. Susan. She's 24 months. That's 2 years of membership there. She said, keep on keeping on, tongue, and loads of, ooh, look, presents, cake, balloons, and stuff.
Even though the presents are emoji.
Hey, that happens. Here's a funny story. So I hate cooking so much that when I went back to college, I picked up an apartment that did not have a stove. I only had a microwave.
That's why you stink at cooking ramen and you can't cook nothing.
I try not to cook much. If I've got to cook for myself, I'm going to microwave something, or I'll get my kiddo here to go microwave me a dinner.
It's only because you won't let me watch horror movies if I say no.
You're a nut.
And you're a mashed potato head because you burned mac and cheese.
For 2 months, they said they love their Umbrella Guy fam. I like everybody get together, and you know, again, kids are a big part of.
One time he burnt water. How did you burn water?
I don't think I've ever burned water. Actually, I don't think that's possible.
Liar.
Yeah, I don't think that's possible. I've never tried to cook water, to be honest. What do you cook? What do you cook? What do you cook?
I cook ramen, microwavable food.
You like making
potatoes,
aka
French fries.
Yeah, you like making French fries from scratch, right?
Yeah, because sometimes it's actually more healthy if you use vegetable oil, because in fast food restaurants, sometimes they put beef oil. That's why sometimes the French fries aren't healthy.
Yep.
Because potatoes are actually really healthy if you make like homemade chips.
Yeah.
Like homemade chips from scratch. Like from.
Yeah, anything homemade versus fast food. We've been cutting all that nasty food out, haven't we?
Yes, if Dad would let me
I'm not
make
letting
some fried chicken, I would be able to.
I'm not letting you just cook anytime.
I have been cutting back on cooking because of the mashed potato head.
Well, no, we've been cutting back on. We've been cutting back on sweets. You know, I say that while somebody eats a lollipop behind me.
And you have a bag of lollipops right there.
That's because they're sissies. I had to take and hide them. I was putting stuff. So, okay, my now 4-year-old, I put stuff on top of the refrigerator, right? Like that should be out of bounds. Everything should be good to go. Well, I caught her trying to figure out how we have a we have a counter right beside the refrigerator, and I caught her trying to figure out how to use a stepping stool that she uses to wash her hands. She was trying to see if she could climb up on the counter and get on the refrigerator. I was like, no. So I've had to lock up like the stepping stool and everything. Sissy can get into anything. You know. She came down here yesterday. Hey, why don't you go tell Sissy to come here for a minute? Go tell Sissy to come here.
Awesome. I have a spider and...
Yeah, your spider. What kind of spider?
A pink-toed tarantula.
Yeah, it's pretty cute, isn't it?
Yeah, and you want to know what I named it? Burnt Cookie, because I was I want to name it Cookie, but it doesn't look like a cookie. If a cookie was burnt, it would look like my tarantula, so I named it Burnt Cookie.
Yeah, tarantulas. Yeah, I haven't named any of mine. You can name them, I guess. How many do I have now? What, 5?
1, 2, 3, 4.
Here's that one.
5.
Yeah, I like that one.
6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11.
We keep joking about how we're gonna get like a snake and stuff.
I want a snake.
Oh,
Not
well.
gonna lie, but
Yeah, but it's a
this
lot of work.
dude right
Go
here.
get Sissy.
Okay,
Go
the mashed potato head.
Go on, get Sissy. You crazy fool.
Even though he.
Oh, I'll let the little one talk for a minute too. Since
Come down here.
you're 9 months without a cigarette. That's good, Kathy. You know, that's very good. I have a cigar still. I have a cigar every day.
Congratulations.
Yes, congratulations. That's
Here's your award that you can't grab, but I'm still giving it to you. Yeah.
Hey, little girl, what you doing?
It's fell.
Your what? Your tree? Your light up tree?
No, the tree fell.
What tree?
My tree.
Your tree with the lights on it?
Yeah.
Did you knock it down? No. Okay, that's okay. Come here. Come here.
Sometimes
We'll fix
things fall like
it. You know,
down the
you know
stairs.
what's funny is
Put it on my shelf. I can't walk.
hey, oh, you knocked it down. You nut.
I'm sorry, Dad.
That's okay. We'll fix it.
The
Okay.
mashed. Dad,
It is
you
the
want
mashed
my cell phone and I can't get it.
Yes, I will fix it in just a minute.
She's
Hey,
mashed
wait.
potato head junior. Dad.
Let's let her talk for a minute.
Dad.
Yeah, baby.
It fell when I picked it up.
It fell when you picked it up.
Yeah, I pushed them. You to
She has she has a mini Christmas tree. She has a little one in her room, and it is her nightlight. So she was trying to. Can you have a lollipop? Yes, you can have a lollipop. I guess it's late, but I guess it's, stop. No, quit picking at Sissy.
What color is this? Red?
What color is that? Look.
It's red.
No, it's orange. It's hard to tell in the
Is
light.
it red?
You can call it red. It's a reddish orange, right?
It's orange too.
It's orange too. Oh my goodness!
There was a wrapper on my throat too, like a tree.
Like a tree? There was a wrapper like a tree.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness! Did you get it off that though?
I can't. It's too close to it.
Oh no! Oh no! So
You
you
do
like the
that
tree?
too. You ain't get the two. You're so garbage, cat.
Oh man, really? Here, let Sissy talk for a minute. Huh? Here, let Sissy. You got to talk. Let Sissy talk. I know they both love to talk on the.
She has a
streams.
buzz cut.
No, she has shorter hair. Why?
Like a boy.
Well, no, she does not look like a boy. She has a pretty haircut. She just has shorter hair. Why do we have to get your hair cut?
Because she cut it herself. Sis was in her bed.
Oh, there were scissors. Did you cut your own hair? Is that what happened? We had to cut your hair.
Yeah.
Yeah. Huh? Is that what happened? Were you trying to make your hair pretty? We don't do that anymore, do we?
Dad, I want to make it prettier like Mom. She cut my
Yeah,
hair,
but you don't
and
need
I
to
have
cut.
calic all because of this booty.
So she had some safety scissors. This is really funny. So she snuck into her sissy's room one night while her sister was sleeping and decided that she was going to make her hair beautiful too. So she cut a little part out of her hair. I was like, no.
That is what she
we
did.
we don't do that anymore. do
I
we?
want to make it beautiful like Mom.
I get it, but that's what the barber does. The barber
One time
cuts our
I
hair.
went to my first dance and I didn't dance,
Stop turning the chair like that. It's catching on the thing.
but you want to know something?
Our
I
daughter
get the
shaved
stinky booty
an eyebrow
cockroach.
off. Aunt Clara said their daughter shaved one of their eyebrows off.
Well, I kind of concealed mine and I still don't know how to get it off, so it looks like I have small eyebrows.
Yeah. Oh, it did.
My
yeah.
beauty
Where you
tips went
where you cut that little part. Remember when
No,
we were,
it's still an eyebrow. It's just I put
Dad,
something
I
over
need
it
to
that
take
looked like my skin color, and now
Dad, I
tried
you did what? Oh my goodness, your legs.
And this girl,
I will draw that.
You're a
First of
what?
all, who
Oh,
draws
man.
their
Did you draw on your
eyebrow
leg?
Really?
You drew a smiley face on your leg?
Yeah, with a blue one.
Oh,
Hey.
really?
Don't blame her. I have like 7 tattoos.
Oh, yeah, you've been drawing on yourself too. My goodness, kids.
Dad, look.
What? It's drawing your butt. What in the world?
How did you draw your
Oh Lord.
I love you with that too.
She was like, look, and she tried to flip her legs up. I was like, what are you doing? She was pointing at her butt. I was like, no, you work on your butt. You're
Where is it?
Oh my god.
Let me look down.
Yeah, we'll get down. Yeah, come on.
Let me look down, Dad.
Let you look down.
Harry.
Oh my goodness.
Harry Potter.
She's sitting on the floor trying to show me her butt. She's like, I'm doing my butt. She's got her butt flipped to the ground. Oh Lord. You are crazy, child. Come here, y'all. You want to say something before we leave? Come on, we're fixing to end the live stream. You want to say something?
I like the Pennywise movie.
The Pennywise movie, you love it?
Yeah, it doesn't sell.
It doesn't scare?
I put the books without one.
No,
that's not a
toy.
I officially have $15 now, and there's nothing Dan can do about it.
You have $15 now, officially, and I can't do anything about it.
Because you smelly.
I hear you. Here.
Dad do his way and said no.
All right, go sit down for a minute and do you want to say bye?
Bye.
Okay. Let Sissy say her bye too. You got to talk, like I said, for like 15 minutes. So let's do you want to talk? Do you want to say anything to people?
Hi, my channel's good.
Your channel? Is this your channel?
I have a channel.
Is this your channel? So the oldest here told me that I have a channel, but it wouldn't be anything without her. You know. Y'all stop. You know. Here, why don't you go over there? All right, say bye.
Bye.
All right, go that way. Go.
I would you just grab her little face off.
Go upstairs. Go. Go home and tell them bye. Go on, Buzzy. Go upstairs. Go. I'll be upstairs in a minute. I'll fix your tree in a second, okay? Go upstairs though. Get it ready.
I'm just going to stand down here.
Oh, okay. Well, you can stand down here for a minute, okay? Well, I got to tell people bye, okay?
Do not push.
We'll continue tomorrow with the documentary that we got on. I'll leave this stuff up so people can check out what's there. And anyway, I'm going to end here because I've apparently lost control. I've lost control otherwise. So say bye, girls.
Bye. And don't push yourself down the steps.
And don't push yourself down the steps, of course. All right, but I'll catch y'all later. Bye, folks.
How are you going to late it?